Y'all here to see if the sign falls during the stream? Are y'all here to see if the sign falls off the wall? God, I hope it doesn't fall off. It's also too high up. It's too high up. It's not... It just would have been better if it was, like, here. Like, literally just right below where it is right now. I put this on while I was sitting here waiting, and I decided I don't want it, actually. It's silly looking. Riggs, thank you for the 13 months. That's better. Hello. Jackson, thank you for the Prime. Emerson, thank you for 8 months. Smiley, bring it in for a hug. Emally, thank you for the Prime. It doesn't look bad. It's cut off, and I couldn't possibly bring the camera up any higher because I'm already sitting on my feet, and this is just as tall as I can get. Also decided to let my hair be curly, and while these ones are a little bit limp today, I think just because they're a little damaged, these ones back here, thriving. They're more like waves, but they are damaged. They are bleached. I mean, my hair is healthy, but it's bleached, so. My little curls are blonde. Infamous Cactus, thank you for the Prime. Dude, I'm just happy I have a neon sign. And I got something that's coming today. Little tea light candles, like a battery powered one. And I'm going to put one in there. So then I think my light in the back when it gets dark will be okay. We're going to find out today, I think. I think we're going to find out today. It's not the worst. It just, either way it was going to be blocked by me for the most part. It was more just like an effect glowing behind me. It just needed to be like here. Just right there so it wasn't cut off. And there's a lot of space between my head and the top of the frame. This is where I'm normally sitting. I had to raise the camera up, which means I have to sit up really tall and really straight, so great for my posture. She is tiny. I put the camera up really high. It used to be tilted down a lot more, too, so I had to get up to its level. But here's where I sit. Let me get back up to my position. It's not so bad. I'm in the middle. Where'd I get my sweater? Where did I get this sweater? Urban Outfitters. It has dice on it of different amount dice. You can only see this one from up here, though. You can't see any of them at all over here. I think it's neat. I like it. It's my name tag above my head. It is my name tag above my head. You know what? I'm never going to move it, probably. What I could do, I command stripped so many teeny command strips behind it because I can't drill into my walls because they're concrete and I don't have the tools. So I stuck it there, and I used the Velcro command strips, which means I could, in theory, pull it off the wall, separating the Velcros, and sticking them back, but just at the bottom end of each one. No, that's not gonna hold as strong. I'm not gonna move it. I'm never gonna move it. I wouldn't be able to move it down enough. I mean, maybe even a little bit would help, but I'm probably never gonna touch it. Maybe one day I'll rip it off the wall and re-stick new command strips and do it all over again. It only took me about 10-15 minutes. Jar Water Pog. Where do you get your clothes from? Most of them, Urban Outfitters, and where have I been shopping? Urban Outfitters. Some online shop's gonna start thrifting. Did you finish the ranch? That ranch has hardly a dent in it. It's still good. It hasn't expired yet, but there's a lot left. No, you cannot see Star-Lord because she decides when you get to see her, not me. Are you ever going to upload on Shelby Grace? Yes, this year is my plan to bring back videos on that channel, actually. Your little yellow table looks like it's living its best life full of stuff. I put Gigi in there, a couple books, a little succulent pot that's a bulba, and I'm going to put a little light inside him so he's like a little glowing potion bottle. Star-Lord neon sign. Yo, I mean, no. We're going to go with just one neon sign. Where'd you get the light from? I ordered it from a custom neon sign place. From Etsy, there's like a bunch of them that do the same thing. It looks like a halo. Maybe it's in the perfect spot. I would have rather have it cut off a little bit from the bottom than the top, because at least if I move or walk out of frame, you can see the whole thing. But with it being cut off from the top, it just is like that forever. But it's okay. I don't know if I'll ever fix it. I might. Is that your handwriting? Not somebody else's. It was just a font that they had. I wish I wrote that nice. I do not, actually. I don't have nice handwriting, I think. Weren't you once on Anthony Padilla's vid? Yup! I sure was. I sure was. Alright, what we're gonna do is watch... So this is what I realized today. I wanted to go through all of the lore videos about Five Nights at Freddy's. So I was just going to go on a binge of watching the game theory videos about it. Did you guys know that there's 53 of them? Because I didn't know that there's 53 of them. I thought there were maybe 5. I have been way out of the loop. How much can there really be? I guess a lot to theorize about. So we're going to watch like about 2 hours of it. We might even skip some. Because the very first few of them, I feel like I might already know enough about it that we could summarize it a little bit. But we're going to start at least to watch them. I'm going to watch all of them. I'm going to start with the first one. I'll skip when I feel like it's unnecessary, but I'm going to watch it because I honestly might just enjoy the whole thing. There's books. Since when are there books? I know about how many games there are. 8 games, and you can get 53 videos. That's impressive, and I'm honestly really excited because I love these videos. We're just definitely not going to make a dent in this. I wish a playlist could show you how long it would take to watch all of the videos in it. One of these is 2 hours long? No, that was like a live stream thing. Okay, we can skip that. This one's only 5 minutes long. So I don't know what that's about, but I just wonder how long this would take to get through. A lot of them are 15 to 25 minutes on average. There's 53 of them. It's gonna take us a while. Honestly, I might not watch all of them on stream, but I'm gonna go through as many as I can today in like a 2 hour or so span of watching videos. We're gonna get started in a little bit. The first bit of the live stream is a normal video. I might just skip the whole thing. We're gonna skip the stream maybe. Took me a whole afternoon to binge watch, and I did skip a few. Yeah, we're not going to do all of them, and wherever we end today might be where I end streaming watching the videos, but I'll probably watch all of them on my own time, because I'm really curious about the lore. And then maybe I can summarize a little bit for when we play Security Breach, but I'm not going to play it until it's fixed, so that could be a while. But that was so much fun playing Sister Location yesterday. I can't believe we beat the game. I went in just hoping to beat Night 3. In fact, after we beat Night 3, I almost was going to stop there. But then I really wanted to try Night 4 first, at least once. And then I felt like I could do it, and then I did it. And then I did Night 5, and I can't believe we beat the game. I don't think I've ever beaten a Five Nights at Freddy's. I could go back and watch my FNAF videos, but I'm pretty sure I always gave up in Night 5. I think I made it to Night 5 in the first and second games. Maybe not even the second game, but I'm pretty sure I gave up and didn't beat it. I might be wrong, though. Maybe I beat it. I don't know. I have to watch my own videos. I can't sink down too low in my chair. I need a booster. I don't need a booster seat. I have the technology of a fancy gaming chair. Where's the... Wait, hello? Which way is the one that lets me go up? There's too many levers under here. Hello? Which one's the one that sends me up? What does this one do? Oh. Oh, you know what? I could just do that. Oh, nope, it doesn't slide under my desk anymore. Well, that's fine. At least I'm sitting a little bit more up. Ooh, I feel tall. Ooh. Maybe I will move it just so because I'm going to complain about it every time I look at it. Forever, probably, because I like to complain. Hunter Drone, thank you for 10 months. Nicole Plank, thank you for 9. James, thank you for gifting a sub. Sums Cupcake, thank you for 3 months. YB Alive, thank you for subscribing. Purple Neverland, thank you for the 100 bits. Shadow Wave, thank you for 2 months. Infamous Cactus, thank you for the Prime. Big Boy Gamer, thank you for the Prime. Purple Neverland, thank you for the 100 bits. And Jackson, thank you for your Prime. Did I read this one? Riggs, thank you for 13 months, because I don't know if I read that one. I'm not really sure. All right, and I got it all ready. Fans put together all of the playlists so that they're in order. And I think we'll be good to go. I'm realizing, is my camera lighting correct? Because it feels dark. Oh, it is. It's supposed to be. That's better a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Because we do still have the daylight of the day. Leon Boy bringing in for a hug. Dude. This should probably have a trigger warning. I don't know what of the videos might. I would assume the videos would have them, but am I wrong about that? I'm not sure, because these are just theory videos. It's not the games themselves even at all. We're just watching theories about the game. And I think if they get into something too dark, I think they're going to put a warning in the video that we watch. And if there isn't a warning needed for the video that we watch, then it's probably not needed. Hopefully. If you want a general recap? No. That would just defeat the whole purpose for me streaming right now. My whole, what I wanted to do on stream today was to watch the game theory videos together. And that is what we are going to do. I want that to be our stream today because it sounds like fun. I can't see the sub goal. Yeah, I changed the font to white because I thought it would look better, but it just makes it impossible to see. So I'm going to fix it because I'm an old lady who puts my phone on like full brightness. I use daylight mode sometimes. And I'm not going to accept someone shaming me for that because that's ridiculous. But I am going to change this text color back to black because, oh, here we go. Save. It's just uglier. It's not as aesthetic. And the text is really tiny. I put it all the way up in there, in that little corner. Game Theory FNAF 1 is a bit dark and releases the game to an IRL. Oh, this is true. Well, we're going to get into it and find out because I don't know what all 53 of these videos might be about. The games are neat, though. I think I might have I don't remember which ones I've played. Maybe I've played less of them than I thought, but I'm not sure. Death Blossom, thank you for 17 months. On the Offbeat, thank you for 13. I think my bedroom's done now that I put the neon sign in, except for the needing to fix the neon sign part. I just ordered a rug the other day for my floor, and I decided to go with pink because it just felt like a good color for the rug. I didn't want to do white, and that would be the only other color I would do. My bed's gray. I wouldn't want a gray rug. So I got a nice, fluffy pink shag rug, and I'm excited. Fries of the Garden, thank you for the Prime. And then the next part of my apartment that needs to be finished is just that one little wall that I need a cabinet for. And I might have found a backup, but I think that one's sold out too, which is unfortunate. Baby pink, not hot pink. Hot pink would not work in this room. It is too soft in here for hot pink. Oh, my hair's falling out. Oh, God. Does it say my sample goal? No, I had something funny in there earlier. Why did it erase it? How? Why is it like that? Oh, there we go. I don't know why it said that. That's weird because it did have it set on Streamlabs to the correct thing. I just had to refresh the window. Anyways, Steph, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Everything is sold out nowadays. I guess apparently furniture really is. Jack Manifold! Welcome everyone to the raid. We only just started streaming. Hello everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I just put this up today and I put it too high and it's cut off. And I already made my camera as high up as I can. And now I've made my chair even higher because I'm 5'4", so I shouldn't naturally be up this high. But I put my chair here and I should fix it. I should fix it, right? It's not that bad. What do you think of my sign? It's new. Welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. What our plan today was just to start the playlist of all of Matt Pat's Five Nights at Freddy's theory videos on game theory. We were just going to watch them for like a while because I just played Sister Location yesterday and I really wanted to know all about the lore before we play Security Beach. Security Beach. Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics go to the beach. Back the camera up. That's a bold suggestion. It's on the wall. There is no more back. It's as back as it can go. That would be a great idea otherwise, but if I could just zoom it out the teeniest bit. It is actually... Hold on. Y'all, oh my God. I still have to sit high up though. Did I fix it? I just panned it up slightly. It wasn't zoomed in, but it was a little bit zoomed in, but it's zoomed in so that these sides come in because the resolution is off this way, but not this way. Does that make sense? Okay. Now I just need to sit with my chair really high up and I still need to sit as tall as possible, which is only going to do good for my posture. So, holy, I don't have to move the sign. Good, because you know what? It's in the most perfect spot in real life, and as soon as I sat down and turned my stream on, it was completely out of frame where my camera had been sitting before. Do I look like I'm tall? Should I go stand next to it and prove that I'm not? I don't want to get up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're interested in Five Nights at Freddy's lore or just spooky stories, we're just going to basically be watching some of those videos for fun to learn about all the theories and stuff. Height check. If only I could tell you how high I hung this, but I can't because I didn't measure or I just eyeballed the whole thing. Got really lucky about that. Well, I didn't get lucky because I did it wrong. I put it too high. Dude, I look incredible. Everyone in the chat saying I look tall. Oh my God. You guys are very nice. You can stay. I'm 13'4". I give a 5'6" vibes. It was my dream since I was a kid to be 5'6" specifically. Never quite made it there. I wanted to be that height because growing up in Jersey, going into New York all the time, spending the holidays in New York all the time, the city, have seen the Rockettes, loved that as a girl, a young girl, and their minimum height requirement was to be 5'6", because I was convinced I was going to be a Rockette one day. So that was my goal for growing. Didn't hit it. Didn't become a Rockette. Never even took a dance lesson anyways, because that was not something I was going to do. But that was the whole reason I wanted to be 5'6" specifically, was because the Rockettes had to be 5'6" minimum. Because all of them wear heels of different heights that make it so that when they're all standing next to each other, they're all identical heights. But the girls obviously aren't actually all the same height. They just wear different size heels, which I thought was really clever. Makes sense. Neat. Cool. Except being 5'6", I'd have to wear the highest of heels then, that would mean. And I also am not good at that. I was not built to be tall. I can't walk in heels. That's it. Yeah. Dude, it just was a cool show to go see. It was cool to fantasize it. Walks in with platform boots. See, that I could walk in. I'm talking just heels. Skinny little itty bitty stiletto heels or even a chunkier one. They're really hard to walk in. But if it was a platform boot, sign me up. I just get scared of the heights. I wasn't built to be tall. I wasn't made for it. Not meant to be for me. I'm gonna just hold on to my little step stool in my kitchen. Keep using it to get to the, I have 4 different height shelves. I need it to get to the 3rd. Not even just for the highest, but I can't reach the 3rd height shelf either. This is the way I was meant to be. I wish I could walk in heels, though, because they make your calves look amazing. Phenomenal. Is it okay to have your stream in the background while I'm in my Zoom class? Don't ask me. I don't know. Please ask your teacher. Probably not. I'd love to tell you yes, though. Just put it on mute. Dude. Okay. Let's, let me have this go into full screen, and let's have me go into not full screen. Is this a fun idea? Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Does this even... Oh. Cool. Okay. This is fine. Heels help your calves? No, just make them look good. They don't do anything but make them look good. Why am I LGBTQIA? I want to assume that what you meant was why am I in the tag, not why am I... Because I'm part of the community. I just think that's the funniest way of asking that. That's hilarious. Why? That episode doesn't have anything important. No. We have to start from the beginning. We have to get the groundwork of where we're starting with the first game. People who have never watched any lore videos or even any Five Nights at Freddy's, besides maybe me playing last night, we gotta start at the top. If I decide anywhere in the middle that it's not worth it. But I really want to start from the beginning. Here's an issue that I have, and maybe it's an ADHD thing because it would make sense, I think, but it's an issue that I have, which is I can't start something like this and skip. Like some people will watch animes and skip filler episodes because people will tell them which episodes you can skip. I can't do it at all if I don't watch every second. I can't skip. I need all of them, which is the whole reason I didn't watch any of the superhero TV shows, because to watch like Supergirl and Flash and those ones, you have to watch all of them. And it's all or nothing with me. I'm not going to watch one without the others. And I just also simply am not going to watch 4 different TV shows that I have to line up all at the right time because they cross over. But I also refuse to skip. It's all or nothing. I don't know how to do it any other way. So we have to watch every episode from the beginning, even if it's a waste, because it makes my brain happier.
Hello once again, theorists.
Why would you skip filler? They're amazing.
Today we are playing the
Is this... Oh, he's playing it. Oh, I get why I can skip it. Oh. Yeah, we're probably going to skip this one. He's just playing the game, right? Yeah, okay, we're going to skip. Yeah, we don't need it. Ah! Oh, man, that gave me like a flashback to when I played the first game. I think that was like the first scary game I really played by myself because, like I was saying yesterday, I love watching people play scary games. I like to absorb all of the story of a scary game without being in the driver's seat because I like story. It's like watching a movie when you just watch someone else. What is everyone saying? No. He isn't playing it. He isn't playing it. Everyone's saying no. I gotta go back. We gotta go back. All right, let me just commit to it like I said I would in the first place.
Welcome to Matt Pat Play. Today we are playing
that's so funny.
The scariest game of all creation. Probably never heard of it. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's. Here we go.
It was just the intro.
It's a camera. The camera came up.
I remember, though, having that little flippy screen come up the first time. That gave me a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
Chat changed up so fast.
Oh god.
Me, when nothing would happen, and I would jump anyway.
It's only the fan. Only a fan.
Could I turn it up a bit? Yeah.
A game this intense. Oh god. Shut the
I know
door.
it's
Shut the door.
over-exaggerated for this intro, but he's not wrong. That's how it felt like. Okay, I want you to know, I have it on maximum volume. He's being really quiet. I can barely hear myself. It's just a very quiet part of the video. That's why we got subtitles on.
Okay, we're good. Oh! Just the fan. just the fan.
Yeah, when he's being loud, it's fine, right? It's just when he's whispering, he's being quiet. I think it's okay. Let me make sure.
What?
Yeah, I can't really make it any higher.
That's it.
Here.
It's a jump scare. It's a little bunny rabbit jump scare.
Dude, the jump scares are scary.
Really?
And they're scarring.
All right. I mean, oh god, it's so terrifying. Oh, there's the bunny rabbit. Shut my door.
Maybe this is just him really playing it. It sounds like he's just exaggerating it for the intro, but it is really that scary.
Totally compelling gameplay. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm almost out of power. 11% and it's 5 a.m. I don't know if I'm gonna make it. Oh, please.
Oh, this is only night one still that he's even playing in. Tell him to speak up. My bad, can you be a little bit louder? Please? Oh, I hated when that would happen, because you... See, this is loud enough, right? It's actually too loud now, I think. I love his intro so much. Yeah, it was just his video was filmed quiet.
Hello, Internet.
Bro.
Welcome to Game Theory.
I love Game Theory videos.
Name, Matthew
He's so good.
Patrick. It's a very strange name. Okay, I'll admit it. I didn't give Five Nights at Freddy's enough credit.
Seesaw
when it first
for it.
came
Thank
out.
you for
A few
gifting a
jump
sub.
scares from creatures
Milk Bear
that-
T, thank you for the $3.
that's scary. People
Georgie West, thank you for
overreacting
2
to it on
months.
YouTube.
Oh my god, I missed a bunch. Wait,
Man.
Agron, thank you for subscribing.
Then when I
Autumn
asked
Falls Down,
you
thank you for the
about it,
prime.
you showed overwhelming
Steph, thank you for
support
19
an
months.
episode on the game on Twitter, so I began to dig a little deeper.
We're digging
What I found
into
was
the
some of
lore.
the most interesting storytelling, most intriguing mysteries, and most disturbing events I'd read about in a long time. Now, if you were just to play the game straight through 5 days, the story would
I don't
actually
think
come
I
across
did.
as pretty
I really don't
superficial.
believe I
You're the
did
new
make
night
it
guard watching the
to
security
the
cameras at a Chuck E.
5th
Cheese
night.
style restaurant called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. 4 animatronics roam the halls at night because the owners don't want their
There's the
servos
original
to wake
Bonnie.
up. Bad news is
That I just kept calling every
hear
bunny
you,
Bonnie,
or
'cause
else
I
they'll
still
kill
don't.
you on the spot
Did I
because
make
you
it to
look
5
like
or
a naked
6?
endoskeleton.
I might have even made it to
Show
6.
them
You know
these
what? You know what? I
circuits.
might have. I'm good at video
Apparently, one of
games.
them bit someone back in 87, presumably 1987. And the past guard leaves you recorded phone messages to act as your tutorial. That is, as much as he could record before he got
I am gonna keep
killed.
the video
That's it.
quieter
Stay
than
5
me,
nights, collect your paycheck,
'cause if you do
done,
just wanna
game
watch
over,
this video
face
without
what
me,
you do. But playing it that way is doing
you
the
could do
game
that
a
instead,
huge
but I want to make
disservice,
sure
because that's
I
when
am
you
louder than the
scratch
video.
your
The video
If
shouldn't
you're
be louder than
really
me.
observant, you start to unravel the layers
I will
of
be talking
unsolved
over it, and I will not be
mysteries
shutting
around
up.
this place. You find that there's a fifth
I hate that
animatronic,
part of the
that
game.
posters on the wall will change randomly. That news clippings
We got so
appear
obsessed
and
with the lore
disappear,
of this
telling
game
the
when just the
dark
first one had come
secrets
out.
of
It was
this
so much
haunted
fun.
place. Putting it all together, here's the rest of the story.
Some of
Freddy
it's corrected
Fazbear's
later.
Pizza, once a
I
popular
figure with more
restaurant, fell into
information as the
hard
games
times
come
when
out.
5 children went missing there after being lured to a back room by a man dressed
It's
in a
the
character
jersey.
costume. Though a suspect was caught and convicted, the bodies of the
I forgot if
children
someone was
were never
convicted.
recovered. The pizzeria was also threatened with shutdown due to sanitation complaints, as foul odors started to come from the animatronics, blood and mucus oozing from their eyes.
That's
and
a good
mouths.
reason to shut
The
it
last
down, I'd
article,
say.
written years after the incident, states that the pizzeria would finally be closed by
Man, now I
year-end.
want
In
pizza.
addition to the
I
core
said today
4
I'd stop
robots,
ordering
Chica,
out.
Bonnie, Freddy, and Foxy,
Man, those
there's
were
also a
terrifying
fifth,
looking.
unofficially referred to as Golden Freddy. Ignoring the rules of physics, Golden Freddy appears and disappears at will, can inexplicably travel through doors, wherever, causing strange
Is he a cat?
hallucinations. And when he attacks,
You always
you're
want
not taking
pizza.
the typical
'Cause
game
pizza's the
over
best
screen.
food.
Your game
You plan on
crashes.
cooking? Not
So
exactly.
that's unsettling.
I bought a bunch of
And
salad
there's
kits and I
also
got some
strange
pre-made
messages
meals that
appearing
are
on
just
the
really
wall,
good for you.
repeating the words, "It's me."
And then I'll cook
According
like
to the
every
game's
once in a while in
creator, the
between. I
place
just can't do it
is
every
indeed
single day,
haunted
man. That's a
by what
lot.
we can only assume to be the spirits of the 5 lost children. So that's the gist of it. Murder.
That's the gist of what you learn in the game.
Odors, killer robots, and pizza.
That's what
But
you're
this
able to
story leaves a
unpack
lot
just
of
from
lingering
playing through the
questions.
5 nights.
Who is your character? How's he fit in? Why does he stay for 5 nights when he's very clearly confronting the possibility?
I want to try,
of death?
ever since
What
that,
more
like,
can we know about this terrifying
Chuck E.
Golden
Cheese
Freddy? And most
fiasco of what the deal
importantly,
with their
what
pizza
is
was.
the complete
I still
story
haven't had it, and I
behind
kind of
Five
am really
Nights at
curious
Freddy's?
if it's good or
They're all
not.
good questions
I
about
have
a
only been to
delightfully
Chuck E. Cheese
incomplete
once in
and
my life,
mysterious
'cause,
story with just enough
it was
threads
too
to
expensive
keep
for us to go.
theorizing. So now, if you'll indulge me, let me reciprocate that story.
Ooh,
with one of my
Mayflower, if you're
own.
having
You'll
lag,
find it interesting.
You're gonna want to refresh because
December
it's gonna be happening to you.
1993,
You might want to lower the
Aurora,
quality. You might
Colorado.
want to
10
refresh
p.m. Tuesday night at a local
because there is
Freddy
no lag
Cheese. After
here.
a family birthday
Not
party
today, not
runs
this
low,
time.
Manager Margaret
Sometimes.
Goldberg and teenage employees Sylvia Crowell,
Oh, is this the
Eddie
real?
Grant,
This
Colleen
is the real
O'Connor,
murder?
and Bobby Stevens are forced to stay late to close up shop. But as Margaret tallies receipts in the back, Bobby scrubs down the kitchen, and the other 3 work outside.
I shouldn't have been talking. I didn't pay attention.
Unknown to any of the 5, there's actually a 6th person locked in the building with them, waiting silently in the darkened restrooms. A 19-year-old named Nathan Dunlap. Earlier that year, Nathan had begun working there as a cook.
Okay, this
dough
is a real
master,
story.
Before getting fired in July after a disagreement over his hours. Now, 5 months later, he was back. At 10:05, he left the bathroom, pulled out a small caliber handgun, and proceeded to execute everyone in the building. First Sylvia, then Ben, then Colleen. Dunlap then moved to the kitchen, where he surprised Bobby Stevens. The bullet entered Bobby's jaw, sending him sprawling onto the ground. Then finally, Nathan moved to the back, the office, where Margaret opened the safe before Nathan shot her twice, proceeded to grab her bag, filling it with $1,600 in cash, arcade tokens, and keychains. Spurred on by the building security footage, police were at his home a few hours later, where he was promptly arrested. Eventually, he was tried and sentenced to death, but his story re-entered
Had to have the
news
keychains,
just
though.
recently
That's
as
just
his
a weird
punishment has been
detail.
postponed, leading people to debate whether he's able to sleep soundly, knowing that his execution has been delayed. This is a tragic story, a disgusting waste of human life, and one that I won't joke about or make fun of in any way, but I want to address it because I have a strong suspicion that this story is the one that inspired Five Nights at Freddy's.
This
Let's
is
look at
before we
facts.
had any
First, I
other,
don't
like,
think that there's
real
any doubt
lore
that
in the
Freddy's
game
is a parody
of
Chuck E.
whatever
Cheese.
fictional
From the
story
singing
he's probably
animatronics
wanting
the
to tell,
alliterative
or he
naming
probably
of the
didn't even know he was going to make a
characters,
second game
parallels
or not.
just
I don't know.
obvious. So the setting is
If this was the
certainly
whole
same.
game and he
Next,
never
what
made a
year does
sequel,
Five Nights take
does it tell the
place?
whole story he
Time
wanted
is
to, and it's
certainly
just
somewhat vague, but there are
inspired by a
clues that
real
we can
event.
put together. For one, the
Rather
Chuck E.
than a
Cheese franchise
fictional
had a
story he already had
tremendous
planned in
period of
advance.
growth and success in the
Right?
late 80s and early
Oh my
90s.
god, that
It
one was
started to
terrifying.
decline along the same time as arcades, with at-home video game consoles taking center stage. So that's one
I'm
clue.
glad I didn't get to go to
More
Chuck E. Cheese,
details,
because you know what?
specifically with
I
your
was
character's
terrified
kitchen.
as a kid
Each
of
night you're
people
working a
in
6-hour
suits
shift,
like this.
and you're
I had
spending
such a
5
huge
nights
fear
there.
of it.
So that's 30 hours
I was
of
afraid
total
of
work time for 120
anyone that
bucks.
walked around in big
Total,
costumes.
$4
At my
an
own
hour.
birthday party,
How
I
could
hid
they
from
do
them.
that? That's below minimum wage for 2014.
They called my name over
But
the
in 1990, minimum
loudspeaker,
wage
and
was
I hid in the bathroom.
$3.80. In 1991, it was raised to $4.25, and by 1996, you were looking at about $5 an hour. So the game
Yikes.
seems to take place between 1991 and 1996. The Nathan Dunlap story took place in 1993.
$5
But let's
an
move on to the
hour.
most important comparison: the victims. In the game, there were 5 child victims. In the real-life story, there were also 5 victims.
Praise
But we
minimum
get even
wage.
more
Wait, oh, I can't
Online
read.
theories about the game
Minimum
always
wage
tend to
now.
draw a parallel between the number of kids missing to the number of animatronics, saying that the
Oh.
children's bodies were stuffed in the various suits. And this appears to
Oh.
be true. Bonnie and Chica
How am I supposed to pay my rent of
both have
$4,000 a
breath
second?
sound effects, as though someone's
Sombre,
trying
thank
to
you for the
cling to
prime.
last threads of their lives stuffed inside the costumes. And other sounds made by the animatronics are just slowed down versions
I
of
got rent to
children's
pay
laughs
here.
and screams. Additionally, as the
$4,000.
news clipping mentions, the suits ooze
This is why we
blood
eating
and
pizza for
distinct
dinner every
distinct
night. We're
like
only
human
making
bodies
$5 at our
and
pizzeria
reanimated
job.
corpses. So 5 victims, 5 suits. Seems like a slam dunk. But nowhere does it say that all 5 were murdered, only that they went missing
Oh.
and couldn't be found. Also, the trouble a lot of people have with this theory is Golden Freddy. Why is that guy so limp and lifeless? So unlike the others. It's
Why does he make that
weird.
sound,
Will you
too?
go back to the real life story? Yes, there were 5 people shot that night in
I don't know what you're
Cheese,
talking
which
about. There's no
matches the
Jersey
5
coming at
victims
me.
in Freddy's story, but of those, one survived. Bobby, the one from the kitchen, miraculously survived the shot to his jaw. After he was knocked to the floor by the bullet, he went limp, played dead, to avoid the killer coming back to finish the job. And that relates exactly to the advice you're given on night 3 by the phone guy.
Try playing dead. You know, go limp.
Oh my god,
Let me
the
reiterate
original
that I'm not
phone
trying
guy. I
to
forgot what he
make light
sounded
of the
like.
Real-life events by comparing them to bear costumes and animatronics. But I do wanna point out
Moron-phobic?
that
Same.
these
Thanks for,
similarities do exist.
thank
And
you for your
what
prime.
else is limp and appears to be a lifeless, empty suit in the game? Golden Freddy. Surviving the attack, Bobby was able to go to trial and be a damning piece of evidence in the case against Nathan Dunlap, ultimately leading to his death sentence. Which animatronic surprises you by appearing randomly? The one you don't expect and has no clear pattern? Golden Freddy. It's
Golden
also
Freddy.
worth mentioning that of all the cameras in the restaurant, one is always black, preventing you from
Oh, yeah.
seeing what's going on.
I forgot about that.
Camera is located in the kitchen, leading many to assume it's where Golden
So that I
Freddy
could sneak in there and get
hides,
some
which just
late
so
night
happens to
snacks,
be
but
the
the boss
place
doesn't have to
Bobby
know
was
about it.
able to survive the attack. So I ask, odd coincidence?
Did you ever
Or source
consider
of
doing a
inspiration?
BuzzFeed
In fact,
Unsolved
if you
watch
think
party?
about it,
Yes!
the behavior of animatronics
That has to be a
corresponds
nighttime
with
stream.
key
I
features of
love
each
those
of the real-life
videos. I love
stories'
ghost
victims.
hunting. Can we
We
watch
just
old
covered Golden Freddy and
Ghost
Bobby,
Hunters
but the
episodes
rest
from
is strange
TV?
parallels
Can I
too.
find those to
Bonnie
play
goes
on
into the
stream?
utility
I don't even know how to
closet
do that,
filled
but I'm
with
gonna
floor
try
cleaning
because I
supplies.
love,
Most prominent ones
love,
being
love,
the
love, love,
carpet
love.
broom. It's probably one of the most
Ghost Hunter
random
shows.
things in the game.
Oh,
Do
that sounds so
consider
much
that
fun.
Ben, the second victim, was vacuuming at the time
We
of the
have good
attack.
times here.
Foxy
We have
was
fun
kept
here.
sequestered in the back of the building, behind a curtain, more aggressive than all the rest. Similar to the way Margaret, the manager, was
I have
in the
not been
back
paying
office
attention to this.
counting receipts at the time of the murder, and her role as manager would inherently make her more aggressive.
Ghost
and assertive.
Adventures. Oh, I forgot about that. I liked watching, was it just called
Cleaning
Ghost Hunters?
salad bars
I forgot what
at the
channel
time
it was
of the
on.
attack. Chica
There's
walked
one
past
episode
the
where there's
bathroom
leprechaun
associated with
ghosts.
food. And Freddy, well, he doesn't have that
And it's a
strong
show that takes
parallel with
itself
Halloween,
seriously.
but he does appear in the
And there
girls'
were leprechaun
restroom.
ghosts in an
Odd for what we
episode.
would assume to be a male animatronic.
I gotta
Maybe
watch
it's a
that
reference
episode
to
with you
Colleen
guys, 'cause
being
it's
a
so
girl,
fun.
or a nod to Nathan's
And
plan
so
of hiding in
cannot
the
be real.
bathroom until he was ready to attack.
Those
Alright,
little
after
fairies,
doing
maybe
all
it
the
is little
research,
fairy
reading
ghosts.
every fan theory in existence and putting all the clues together, what can this mean for the story of the game? I think the game is an allegory for that night back in 1993. Here's my final interpretation. You, Mike Schmidt,
There's
are
a
the murderer,
movie
former
about a ghost
employee
hunter
of Freddy's
group that is a
Pizzeria,
parody
but
of
Nathan in
like
the real
ghost hunter
story
TV
was
shows that's
fired
making
for the
fun of
reason
them, and I can't
stated
remember the
in
name
face
of
a
that
pink slip,
movie.
tampering with the animatronics, being
Was it Ghost
unprofessional
Adventures?
odor. Maybe
that
it
it?
was your tampering with the robots that caused the infamous bite of
I don't remember.
87. Regardless,
like a
Nathan,
joke.
you were mad and wanted to get even. So you lured children to the back using a costume, killed them, stuffed their bodies into the animatronic suits, hoping to get the place shut down, then left. Notice that the newspaper clippings never say it's an employee of the company luring the children away, but we know it must have been someone with access and knowledge of the employee
Grave
section of
Encounters!
the building. And
That
as the
was
newspaper
it. That
clippings
sounds
clearly
familiar.
Show, just like Nathan, you were caught almost
Grave
immediately
Encounters. That was a fun
captured on
movie.
the security
I think it was.
footage. You were arrested.
I remember
tried,
thinking
and
it was funny.
convicted, forced now to live on death row. The Freddy's
It's a
Pizzeria
silly
you work in
movie.
now are just the nightmares that haunt you.
I like
taunting
how
you
wrong his
every
first theory
night.
was. Even I know sitting here how wrong it is, but this was the only game that we had to go off of. And honestly, that might have
You are
been
the killer.
all of the lore that
Nightmares
he had ever
also
even
why
thought of
everything
at the
is so
time.
surreal.
But I wonder,
Posters switching at random,
maybe he did
heads
have
on the animatronics
more of the
switching,
story already
Golden
thought out,
Freddy
but didn't think he'd
appearing
get
and
to tell it,
disappearing
or
at
he
will,
thought he would.
taunting you as the one that got away. It's also why you're only at the pizzeria from midnight to 6 a.m. every night. It's a nightmare.
All right, this one's almost over.
It's
And then I'm assuming the next video. I know he makes multiple videos on each game. We might be able to skip all the videos about the first game because this video told us everything there was in it to be aware of. I think.
The naked endoskeleton elsewhere
I
in the building.
think.
It's also a place you can't escape from. Why you find yourself back there night after night, even after you complete your 5 nights. See
It is a
that
good
next week,
interpretation.
the ending text
It might
goes.
be right
You're
for-
unable to leave this
might have
terror,
been
the
right at
threat
the
of death,
time.
the guilt. Because it never ends.
What is this
And in a
video called?
delightfully
This is
ironic
The Game
twist, your
Theorists is the
personal hell
channel.
forces you to
I just typed
supervise
in
the
their
exact
Five
same
Nights at Freddy's
security
series, and I have a
footage that
playlist
led
of
to
the
your
whole thing in order.
capture in the first place. But hey, that's
Just a theory!
A game theory.
I'm such a fan of these videos. At the top of the stream, 40 minutes in, already have to pee. So, quick break, get a snack and a water if you didn't already have one before, because this is all what we're doing today. We're just going to sit and watch. I can't believe we're 40 minutes in and have only watched one of the 53 videos. We're not watching all of them. I just want to see how far we go. But I'm going to be right back. Are y'all bonking in my chat? Are you all bonking here? Hey, I'm bonking here. What you bonking about? What are you bonking about? Next video. Oh, I hit the desk because the chair's too high up. Let me put it down a little bit.
Five Nights at Freddy's 2 video.
Okay, now it just barely makes it under.
The game may have left unanswered. The game's developer, he's,
Oh, okay, cool. We're already on the second game because that was all about. Is there a jump scare?
Don't worry though, we'll get everything cleared up. Oh, and
I've played this one for sure. Yeah, that's the one with the mime. I played that one. I don't think I got very, very far in that one. I wonder how many days. I'm gonna have to go back in my video history and see how far I got on the second game.
Hello,
The puppet, that's what he's
welcome
called.
to Game Theory, the show that
Forgot his
promises not
name.
to include any more gratuitous jump scares unless
The little
that's just what I
creepy
want.
things that were crawling into the
Keep a false sense of
me.
security and scare you again.
when we were playing Sister Location looked like that.
I'll just let the uncertainty of whether a jump scare
Is that a
going to
thing?
happen
Is that
or
like
not drive you insane
is there a
for the
reason?
rest of this episode.
Are they connected?
Man, I love reverse psychology. You know what else I love? These games. Not because I'm freaked out by the rosy.
It was very exciting when the second one came out.
Emotionally dead animatronics. Okay,
Mini
well, the lead
arenas?
kid is pretty messed up, but whatever. No, what I
But he's called
appreciate about
a
these
puppet.
games is the level
Tito
of
Burrito,
thought that
thank you
went
for
into
subscribing.
every element of the story. When you
Wonk.
create a game that has people rage debating about whether it's a sequel or a prequel, you
Oh, I forgot
definitely
about
done
that.
something right. Unless that was
We didn't
never your
have, like, a
intent,
timeline.
You've done something horribly, horribly wrong. Anyway, the point is,
It was so
Five
exciting
Nights
when
at
this game
Freddy's
came out.
2 looks to be
Because we were all like, we
everything
need more
you want.
pieces to this puzzle.
More cameras, more danger, and more fan. Oh, the fan. But that also comes with more questions.
In the lore of the...
Questions
Oh,
about
those
the
in the
people,
other
and
game.
while
Mini
others will
arenas were
provide
what
you
they
with
were
the jump
called.
scares,
They were
I
climbing into
provide
my
you with
mouth?
what everyone really wants answers. Well, maybe not everyone.
No.
What an elite, educated
I will not
subset
have it.
really want answers. So grab yourselves a slice of Freddy Fazbear's signature pizza, because we're about to...
I
dig in.
have to get pizza.
Tastes like...
I have to.
Let's get the big one out of the way first. Is the
They
game
didn't give me an option when I signed up for this to have anything else for dinner tonight.
Contrary to popular belief, just because it has a big 2 slapped
I could get good
name
pizza.
doesn't
I can get good
automatically
for me
mean
kind of
it's the
pizza. Like,
after the first one in a time
I don't
sense.
have to get
It's a
Domino's
sequel,
or Pizza
yes,
Hut.
but it tells a prequel story.
I just said I was
For
gonna
instance,
eat
these
better
all-time
starting
classics,
today.
Psycho 4, The Beginning, Lion King 1.5, and the actual all-time classic
I might have a Frozen one,
Godfather
actually.
Part 2. All of
I'm
them
not sure.
sequels
I'm
that
not
just
sure.
so happen to also be prequels. It's not mutually exclusive. So where's Five Nights at Freddy's 2 fit in? Knowing
What was
its place
Godfather on the
is
screen for?
crucial
I was not paying attention. Some of
to figure
prequels.
that out, let's focus on the paycheck you receive at the end of your 5th night.
'Kay.
This places the events of the game in 1987, a whole 6 years ahead of when we determined the first game took place. In our
But that wasn't a
city.
solid
Sounds like
determination. That was like a
prequel,
theory
we
of what
found that date in the
year?
first game by calculating Mike
Wasn't it?
Schmidt's
Yeah, that's
hourly
how.
pay and comparing that to the minimum wage of the 90s. If Scott Coffin,
Learn to make your own pizza dough?
developer,
Oh, I
just
know how to
picking
do that.
random
That's just way
numbers
more
for
work than I'm
payments,
willing to do.
this bit of evidence would be
I just simply don't want to do
except
that.
it's
Is my
not.
mic too
At
loud?
the end of Five Nights 2, you get paid $100.
I shouldn't be too
Divide
loud.
that by the 30
I
hours
definitely
worked,
wanna be
you get
louder than the video.
$3.35 an hour,
Can't you
the
turn
exact
all of it down?
minimum wage for 1987.
Because I
which
think,
means
let me
that
try
us
something though.
using minimum
If
wage
I put it down a
calculations
notch
to
but then put it
identify the year of
closer,
Five
is this
Nights
okay?
is a
My mic has always
valid
been
way to
fine. It's
prove
never
it.
had
It
an issue. I
shows
didn't
that it
change
takes
anything.
place
But let me
after
see if
the
this
events
works
of
better.
Five Nights 2.
Am I too
Still
quiet
with
now?
me? Players
If I
brave
put it
enough to
close?
survive the extra night 6 are rewarded with a
I should be
bonus
loud
and a
compared to the
newspaper
video.
clipping that says the toy
I
robots
don't know
are
what
getting
this is
scrapped,
like.
and
Seems
that the old
louder.
ones are going into storage for a new,
But-
smaller scale version of the
How did it
restaurant.
end up
That'll
louder?
explain why the old models reappear in Five Nights 1 and the toy models don't. And notice how
Dude.
it mentions a smaller version of the restaurant. The building in Five Nights 1 is significantly smaller
you know
than
what?
the setting of Five
We're gonna go
Nights
back
2.
to my normal
Need more
setting.
evidence? What
I
about
just
the fact
realized.
that on the first night in the office, the phone
We
guy
just definitely
said
want me
the
louder.
robots
That's all
used
that
to walk
matters.
around during the day, just
Again, if
like
you're
they
here
do in
just for the
Five
video
Nights
and
2,
don't care about my
or the
commentary on it, you're
fact that
probably
phone guy
better off watching the
dies in
video
first
itself.
game, making it hard for him to also be the phone guy in Five Nights
Oh
at
yeah,
Freddy's
phone guy
2,
dies in the
takes
first game, so
four
there's a
steps.
new guy on
Only
the phone.
Phantom Menace, 'cause every way to Sunday, this game is a prequel. So with that revelation out of the way,
I
we're
forgot
able
that
to
that was how that
continue
was
the rest of the
decided.
timeline and dig a little bit deeper. Posters everywhere in Five Nights 2 welcome you to this new location, implying that there was another Freddy Fazbear's Pizza somewhere before this one. Additionally, the phone guy makes reference to it on night 1, mentioning the old location.
So that's
and
a
how it was
prequel
not
to a
robbed.
prequel that they
So
just
we know
set
that
up.
There was one Freddy Fazbear's Pizza for the first game,
Yeah.
one for the second game, and one that came before both
Cool.
of them
Oh,
we've never
and
seen. But even
I remember
before
this now.
that, the phone guy also mentions an even older restaurant called Fredbear's.
You're gonna watch every theory. No, but we're gonna watch a lot of them.
Aside from its confusingly different name, also had
We're gonna get as far in it as we can. Trips, thank you for subscribing.
There's the
Toki
restaurant
Mimo
from
bringing
the
in for
first
hug.
game, which is the last in the timeline. The one that you're currently working at.
I had set up my mic today low so that I could not have it be in the shot, because I think it's actually better, even though we all love the little bunny on him. So the sequel is a
I hope you're
prequel.
still with me, because this is more complicated than the Zelda timeline. Anyway, it's at this first location, the diner, where the whole story begins.
diner.
Submitted for the approval of the Game Theorist Society.
Yeah, that's why I put
This
subtitles
is the
on, because I will be
tale
talking over this a
of
lot.
Five Nights at Freddy's. When you die in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, before you've even gotten over the jump scare, you sometimes get a screen like this. Oh, turn it off! Turn it off! It's too horrifying. That, youngsters, was E.T. for the Atari, a console that came out before the NES. Yes, around the same time as the dinosaurs. It's widely considered to be the worst game of all time, hence me reacting in a horrified manner. See?
What do I
Humor,
know about
folks.
this
But
part?
seriously, you get these disturbing death
Yeah.
games, which, true to the 1987
I remember
series,
these little
use
mini
Atari-esque
games.
graphics to depict various horrific events. All the while, a creepy robotic voice spells out letter by letter things like help them, save them, or save him.
Dude.
These death minigames are the most important piece in figuring out the true story behind
It was
these
when he
games.
started putting in
Let's
these
start
little,
with
like,
this one. This death minigame
pieces of the story midway through the game, only if you die. So even not that it would probably happen very often that the first person playing the game for the first time would just simply make it through the entire game and never die. Although it'd be impressive. I did make it to night 3 without dying.
Man pulls up in a car, murders the child.
I kinda knew what I was doing, though.
It's my belief, loyal theorists, that this game takes place at Fredbear's Diner and is chronologically the first event that we see in this timeline.
Oh?
Well, it's a small establishment and there's only one animatronic, Freddy, as opposed to all the other games which show other robots. But more importantly, this murdered child is the one that sets everything into motion. One of the new tasks added to Five Nights at Freddy's 2 is winding a mysterious music box
You know what I
that we're
wanna
told
see?
placates one of the animatronics. If you fail to wind the music box, what you're introduced to is
I have a remote for the sign. I wanted to see if it one
puppet looks like No-Face
dim
from
lower
Spirited
would
Away.
look
You know
better.
what else he looks like? Take a look
I'll
at that
find out
murdered
later.
child again. See how his tear tracks remain visible on his face, even after he's dead? If we assume that they'll continue to stay with him into the afterlife, we can make a pretty good case that this kid's murdered spirit eventually found its way into the puppet.
I hate that
animatronic.
one.
But that's
That one
not
was the
all.
worst
What
one.
jump scare happens after this Save Him minigame? After
There's the
seeing
purple
this
guy, the purple
tear-stained
guy.
child's murder reenacted in 8-bit, the puppet jumps out of the screen and
Ugh.
attacks you.
Oh, he's
Coincidence?
so creepy.
I don't think so.
He's so
That
creepy.
incident marks the first time the chain is ever associated with a violent act carried out against a child, and we can infer that it was this incident that caused the original owners of Fredbear's Diner to sell off to the company now known as Fazbear Entertainment. Now, I don't know about you, but if I was senselessly murdered and left to haunt a crappy pizza place for the rest of my life in the body of an awful-looking clown doll, I'd want to get my revenge as soon as possible.
Same.
Unfortunately for our vengeful
I hate
puppet, though,
clowns and
it doesn't
puppets
quite
and
turn out that
dolls.
way.
All of
Fast
them,
forward
really.
A few years to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the first location, the one that has yet to appear in a game. This new restaurant is the one we learned about in my earlier episode and throughout the first game, where our pal the murderer uses a golden Freddy suit to lure away and kill 5 children in the back room. As we read through the various articles on the wall, he gets caught the next day, but the bodies are never found, presumably because they've been stuffed into the animatronic
They got
suits.
scooped.
The restaurant stays open
When
for
does the
a few
scooper
months
come
until
into
the
it?
dead body stink
When do we
starts to
learn-
waft off the robots,
waft.
causes the place to get shut down for health reasons. But how do we know this happened in the first pizzeria
Wouldn't they have
location? Again, we turn to what
eventually
the
gone
phone
in
guy
there and
says.
found, like,
On night 2 of
remains?
Five
And then
Nights
been like,
at
oh yeah, that
Freddy's,
was where they
he
were, and
mentions the
confirm
smell
it or
coming from
no?
the old failed animatronics, the smell that got the original restaurant shut down. We also know that after the Golden Freddy incident, it took multiple months for the restaurant to get shut down. That couldn't have happened in the restaurant of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, which is shut down on night 6 and into the foreseeable future. But outside of these lore clues, it also makes logical sense.
20
Before the
bucks.
Golden Freddy murders,
All
there
that for
was
20.
one dead
This is
child.
the one thing that I can't ever understand, and someone said it's in these lore videos.
Now there are
Who would ever go back? You make it out of night 1. Why is this guy going back every night? For every game. Who would go back?
5 more
I need
dead
this question
children.
answered. It
Thanks
better
to
be
another
answered
of the
eventually.
death minigames, we find out exactly what happened to them. In the Help Them minigame, the puppet stuffs the dead children into the robotic suits, giving their souls new life. And
I don't
preps
remember if I
them
ever
for
played
their
each of these
eternal
myself.
of vengeance. But Matt,
In my
you say
playthrough?
through your chattering teeth, there are only 4 dead children.
Is that
in
Ratchet or is that
game.
someone else?
Which I tell you, look closer if you
Dude,
dare. For the
but the
frame
paycheck
right
is not worth
before
it.
Golden Freddy's head jumps out and attacks features the lost 5th dead child, and what started as a haunted puppet has suddenly become an army of possessed animatronics out for revenge.
Big
Wait,
twist with
that's
why
not
he
all
comes
we
back.
know.
I'm so
We also
excited.
know the murder
I'm gonna
was committed
learn.
by the same
I'm gonna
guy
learn
who
why.
killed the
Why
first
does he keep
child.
going back there?
How?
It's
Look at
really
the Foxy
dangerous.
Death minigame. Twice, Foxy runs out to meet the kids, but the third time we
Foxy
see
was
the old
my
purple man
least
again,
favorite in the original one.
smiling. Foxy goes into the other room to find
The
5
scariest.
dead children. The man in purple strikes again. Skip ahead to 1987,
Purple Man.
finally bringing us to the events of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. The old animatronics have been retired, and the cute new versions of all our
Cute.
favorite friends come
So
equipped with
cute.
facial
I mean,
recognition
no,
software
not
that
cute,
just
not
so
cute.
happens to be connected to a sex
Not
offender
cute.
database. Seems like an oddly specific detail, right? Until you consider that the last
Is the protagonist trying to get some redemption?
having
No!
children get kidnapped
I wanted
and
money.
killed by an employee
I will go work at
as a
Target instead.
safety measure. You see how it all ties together? So you have some animatronics possessed by vengeful
Those ones are
spirits
terrifying.
and another batch on the prowl for predators. But that doesn't
Those
stop
ones
our friend the
still
Purple
pretty
Man from
terrifying.
continuing his life's work of murdering children at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. As we learn from the phone guy on nights 4 through 6, the new restaurant is
So this phone guy is the same
under
phone guy, but it's a prequel, so he
investigation
hasn't been
as-
killed
I'll
yet. But
let
he gets
him
killed in the
explain.
first game.
Hello. What on earth are you doing there? Didn't you get the memo? The place is closed down.
How do you know he was
for a
there?
while. Someone used one of the suits.
How would he know?
We had a spare in the back, a yellow one.
I forgot about this.
Now none of them are acting right.
The Golden Freddy
Someone
killer
used it.
struck again. The final death minigame also supports this. You, as Freddy, must walk through.
Does this
an
guy have
exact
access to the
replica
cameras
of
at his
the
home?
building.
How do you know?
Animatronics
How did he know on
all
that
in
night that you
proper
got in there?
places, seeing the 5 dead children spread out through the various rooms. And based on what Phone Guy says, it seems like the guilty party was the former night guard. The one
Is the
who
purple
used
man the reason you don't like the color
one your
purple?
character
Yeah.
replaced. I mean, Phone Guy makes plenty of uncomfortable references to suddenly having an available position during the day.
When we get it all sorted out, we may move you to the day shift. The position just became available. We don't have a replacement for your shift
During the
yet,
day?
but we're working on it.
But is
What
the
happened to
Purple
him in
Man
the
really
daytime?
someone we've never met?
That's
Does
not
he
usually
only
when
work
these
there, or
activities
is it
go
someone we
down. It's at
trust?
nighttime.
Someone with a long history with these characters. Someone no one would suspect. The head guard. The one forced to fill empty positions and teach new recruits by leaving them instructions over the phone.
'Cause he ain't
Is
going
the
there in
Purple
person.
Man the phone guy? Ask yourself this.
Whoa!
What do
Wait,
we
I remember
really
this.
know about
I think we
Phone
all
Guy?
concluded yes.
Let's
I don't want to
look
know
at that.
spoilers about it. I know I'm
First, he
asking a lot of
always
questions,
speaks
but
like
if he's going to be
an
answering them in the
outsider
lore,
He refers
in these
to the
videos,
management of the company
ignore me.
as they. So he's not a higher up like the CEO or even a manager. But he's also not a typical day worker, as he says things like the employees and the staff. So he works there, but isn't generally considered a regular member of the company. We also know that he's qualified to take the role of a night guard. As we learn, he plans to take over the position sometime after night 6, and is on his way out of the position by the time the first game starts.
For now, just make it through the night. When the place eventually opens again, I'll probably take the night shift myself. I actually worked in that office before you. I'm finishing up my last week now, as a matter of fact.
What else do we know? Well, we know
He
that
has such a
Phone Guy's
friendly
shown
voice,
history
though,
with the
kinda.
company, being with it at least since the first pizzeria that we haven't played in. He also openly admits that Foxy the pirate was always his favorite, and that
I
he's
hate that
never
one.
liked the puppet because, as he says, it was always thinking.
Oh yeah, that was
You wouldn't have any problem.
an ominous line.
Foxy ever
Always
appear in the hallway?
thinking.
Probably not. I was just curious. Like I said, he was always my favorite. I'll be honest, I never liked that puppet thing.
I don't either.
Always thinking.
Oh, when the lore was simpler.
But what do we know about the
At least I could
puppet?
follow it right now.
Golden Freddy
It's gonna get
killer.
complicated,
Well, let's
isn't
look at
it?
the minigames again. He has a long history with the franchise, killing since it was Fredbear Diner. We see him smiling as he watches Foxy perform, Phone Guy's favorite, right before Foxy sees the room of dead children. We know that the puppet and the killer wouldn't get along, which would explain Phone Guy's discomfort around a creature that he describes as always thinking.
Always
And here's
thinking.
the bombshell. We know the killer is a security guard. How? On very rare occasions during the Save Them minigame, while Freddy chases
Plot
the
twist.
puppet, the purple man appears and chases you.
He's wearing a little badge.
It's an orange badge, the kind that would be given to a security guard. Now look at his eyes. Notice the white spots? An odd, seemingly innocuous detail. But now look at Golden Freddy. Look deep into his dead, vacant eyes. What do you see?
I mean, purple guy definitely was a security guard then. He's wearing a little badge.
Really, barely visible. They're there. And now finally, what do we see in Purple Guy's hand? Well, the Atari graphics make it hard to discern.
A banana.
Gun or knife I've seen. No, that to me is very clearly.
I mean, him wearing a badge is
robotic
enough
voice
damning
is spelling
evidence
out
for me.
Save them, save them. But when Purple Guy, Phone Guy, catches
He's
you,
coming at you with a
screen
phone.
crashes, and all you're left with is you can't. But that's not where it ends, Internet. As you and I both know, there's still Five Nights at Freddy's 1. If this game is last in line and the puppet is truly pulling the strings behind all
But
this,
it wasn't last in line.
where
He
do
didn't
we
know
find
that yet,
Five Nights
though.
1? We know the other animatronics guys.
Okay, this one's
around.
almost over.
This
Wow, that was fast.
elderly guy should still be around if this timeline I proposed is correct. And get this.
Yeah, he's not in it. Well,
Is
obviously.
in the first game. Take a look at the East hallway. Seems pretty normal, right?
No
But
way.
every
I don't
so
remember
often,
this.
The posters on the wall
Because he probably didn't come up with
change
this
to
part when he made the
this
first
crying
game.
child with two
I mean, okay.
screaming lines on his face. Look familiar? It should. The Five Nights at Freddy's series is about vengeance. One child, 6 children. More looking for revenge against a
Ooh.
sick child killer.
Well, I don't like
Purple
that.
Guy, the guy who just so happens to be the first voice you hear when turning on these
He just
games.
wants you to have some more
Save them.
potassium.
Save them. You can't. But hey, that's just a theory.
A game theory.
Thanks for watching.
I'm gonna skip the end bit. I don't know if they have like after credit scenes like Marvel movies in these videos, but it can't be too important. It can't be important enough for it to be in the main plot of his theory video. So we're gonna skip to FNAF Mystery Solved Part 1. Can I skip to the game theory intro? I'm scared. Okay, as much as I love the intro, and I really do,
Welcome to
we don't got the
Game
time today. I
Theory,
want to watch
where
as many of
good
these as I can
things,
get through.
Or at least FNAF things come to those who wait. And man, when it comes to this game series, no one was waiting for anything. I mean, the second game came out 3 months after the first. The trailer for the third was 2 months later, and like 4 minutes after that, the game was available.
Oh, I thought I
to
accidentally
download.
went
So
minim-
forgive me
I
if
thought I
was
minimized
caught
the
with
screen.
my pants down on that one. I just wasn't prepared for it. But even more impressive than that abbreviated timeline was your ability to rip that final game apart. Hours after the release of the game, people were discussing good versus bad endings.
I had
8-bit
played this
Atari
one.
cake, glitching through walls and punching a
I remember
flip code
this.
into cement bricks arranged like a telephone dial. In
Yeah.
regards to that last one, I have 2 things to say. First off, well done to you guys for figuring it out so quickly. And secondly, Scott, seriously Seriously, Scott? Oh, look, here's a wall. Let me just dial in my phone number. Beep,
Oh, he said final game.
what? When did we jump
Thought it
from
was a
point
trilogy,
click
maybe.
horror game to
Nope.
magical fantasy? This
Big
is
nope.
like platform 9 3/4. I expect Harry effing Potter to apparate into Pirate's Cove or something. Jeez, here I was thinking that you'd plug your numbers into, the one other place that you see numbers in this game, the
If
bonus
only
jump
he
scare
knew.
menu, or something, anything. But nope, dialing it
Oh,
into
yeah, this
a
one is-
wall makes
I remember,
so
I remember.
much more
It's
sense.
jogging my memory because I have a horrible
Okay,
memory.
Sorry, just needed to get that one off my
Oh, little bunny
Moving
on the desk.
Now, with 15 days at Freddy's under our belts and a few overtime hours clocked in for good measure, we have ourselves a completed video game trilogy with
No.
the third game giving us more jump
No, we
scares,
don't.
more phone guy, and more fast.
New
This
phone
game
guy. I remember
also
this phone
contains the
guy.
final clues we
'Cause
need
I think
to get
this-
some
wait,
closure
actually,
on
no, I
this
don't
game's
remember.
deviously vague story.
Is it the
Scotty
same
C
phone
certainly
guy?
did
Is
make
this-
things
don't
a
answer
bit
any of these.
easier for
Hold
us,
on.
But at this point, I think we finally have enough puzzle pieces scattered across the 3 games to
Nope.
assemble a fairly accurate picture of this franchise's
Maybe?
lore. Since you
I don't know
guys
about
had
that
a,
part.
let's just say, above average interest in this theory, I wanted to create something that answered as many questions as possible about this franchise. But beyond just the details, the question we all want an answer to is, what exactly happened in the story throughout this series? It's a pretty fundamental question to not have an answer to, and yet, despite thousands of videos, forum entries, and Tumblr posts...
Why did the
hey,
Tumblr posts
put
have to
that
be like
away.
that? I also remember
This
that.
game is already scary enough without
Why
you
Tumblr gotta
sticking
make
your
things
book
weird?
somewhere it doesn't belong,
I love it,
okay?
but I hate it at
Despite
the
all
same
those
time.
things, we still don't have a
I've been
clear
on it since
picture on the
2012.
details. Yes, there's a child killer on the loose, the infamous Purple Guy, who's been using
Purple
Fazbear
Guy.
Pizzerias as his hunting ground of choice
I
for
am
years,
so
but going
hungry
into
for
the third
pizza.
game, we still weren't sure about who this guy was or
I might get a nice
victims
little
had
California
officially
pizza
taken.
kitchen.
Then there are the animatronics. Sure,
Barbecue
we
chicken
generally understand
pizza.
that the killer's dead body
They got, like,
is stuffed
healthier
into
looking
some of the
pizzas.
suits, and
At
that
least they
with
look
the help of
healthier,
the
so I'm not gonna
puppet,
get Pizza
the kids
Hut.
were able to find new life in those robotic bodies. But then
How do you call that new
Shadow
life?
Bonnie and Shadow Freddy, who
Oh,
randomly
I
appeared
remember
in FNAF
these.
2, only to become prominent figures throughout Part 3. How do they fit in? What about the ghostly Golden Freddy?
Did he talk about the Shadow
ones?
ones? Is that this game or the second
and
game?
Yet we still don't really know anything about him. Well, now that we finally have all the facts, I think it's time we revisit my timeline I presented in the last episode to see what I got right, what I got wrong. Yes, you heard that. Wrong. No shame.
Creep, thank
I'm a
you for
big boy.
subscribing.
Mommy, wow, I'm a
Trips,
big
thank you
kid
for
now.
subscribing.
I'm
I don't know if I
finally
got that one
missing
before.
details to create what I believe to be my definitive Five Nights theory.
He
And boy,
thinks-
howdy, it is a doozy.
Just to put into reference how wrong he is, this is video 3 about FNAF, and he had made by now January 4th, 2022, 53 videos on Five Nights at Freddy's.
So strap in.
50
theorists.
videos
You
later.
wanted it, you're about to get it. Overall, the timeline of the franchise I presented in the last video still holds strong. Decades
Okay,
before
it
the
is a
game,
new phone guy. I remember that much
meriting its
because
own
it's a
park-style attraction, Freddy
different
Fazbear
voice,
got his
but I
start
didn't
at
remember if it was
Fredbear
going to be
Family
a prequel
Diner. It's
prequel.
here where our story
It is the
begins
next
as
one.
Purple Guy takes his first victim, something we see in the Take Cake
Cool,
minigame
cool,
from
cool,
Five
cool.
Nights at Freddy's 2. What tells us that this is Fredbear's and first in the timeline? Well, as I said last time, in addition to it being a small space, the only character we see is Freddy, whereas all other minigames...
The creator said Matt's video on Five Nights at Freddy's 2 was 90% correct.
Since that would later become Chica's
What was the
signature
10%
item,
he
the
was
event
wrong
depicting this game must have
about?
come before
And obviously
it was
now,
created.
ew, where's her
Additionally,
mouth?
notice that the Purple
Or
Guy's murder takes
beak.
place outside the building. This is the only time we see him murder someone outside the walls of a Fazbear building, which implies that this is likely his first victim. Serial killers often have what's known as a signature, a way of
Dude.
killing that's unique to him and him alone. For Purple Guy, his signature is dressing in an animatronic costume, then luring children to the back of the pizzeria and killing them there. But this murder occurs before he developed this particular style, implying that it's the first. From there, we know that the puppet jump scare that always follows this minigame, combined with the tier design on both the dead child and the puppet's mask, implies that the soul of the first child now exists in the puppet. The event caused the original owners to sell the Fredbear name, who then rebranded and avoided the negative PR, becoming what we know today as Fazbear Entertainment. They then opened a new chain of restaurants, which
Cool.
we never saw in the games until the release of
Oh, I was like, are we gonna see it?
This is
couldn't
not
remember.
Fredbear Diner like many interpret, but rather the first location of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, predating.
And that's
the
when there
events
was the
of Five Nights
gold
at
bunny,
Freddy's 2,
which,
we know.
oh man,
Well,
I don't
by
remember
paying
the
close attention to the
littlest
old
about this
recordings,
game,
the
which is
phone
funny
guy
because
dug
it's
up in FNAF
more
3.
recent than
He
the first and
introduced
second.
us to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, not Diner, before explaining the functionality of the special spring lock
It's gonna jog
suits.
my memory though. Oh, the spring locks.
Welcome to your new career as a performer/entertainer for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Right now, we have 2 specially designed suits.
Oh,
Animatronic and suit.
I
It also lets us know
remember.
that the animatronics are still allowed to walk around freely
'Cause this
during
is
the day, meaning that this is
the
happening
second
before
restaurant,
the bite of 87,
the first
in which an
Fazbear.
animatronic bites someone during business
5 minutes,
hours, removing
whatever.
their frontal lobe and resulting in the animatronics being
And that's where the,
restricted to moving around
spring
only
trap
at
one
night.
came from.
For ease of operation, the animatronics
It looks like
are
Gold
set to
Bonnie.
turn and walk towards sound cues.
As Phone Guy informs us, and as we see in the Stage 01 minigame, there are 2 specialty suits, a Golden Bonnie suit and the origins of the infamous Golden Freddy. But the lifespan of these spring-lock suits is actually short-lived as we learn about their one fatal flaw.
After learning of an unfortunate incident at the sister location involving multiple and simultaneous spring lock failures, the company has deemed the suits temporarily unfit for employees. The classic suits are being retired to an appropriate location.
Now, let's pause here. 2 employees are killed by the failure of a Bonnie suit and a Freddy suit. Where else in the game do we see Bonnie and Freddy
would never have
share
gotten in
a
that
key
suit in the first
feature that
place.
no one else in the
Spring-loaded?
game
No, thank you.
possesses? Shadow
I'll go
Freddy
work at Target.
and Shadow Bonnie. Could this be the origin of the paranormal
Did he talk about the shadow ones in the last
suits?
video, or did I
Yes,
talk over it
actually,
that much?
Shadow Freddy and Shadow Bonnie are tied to the ghosts of the employees who
It makes
died
sense.
in the spring suits. Get this, the employees' bodies were taken out of the suits, which is why their appearance is more paranormal and why they can't possess them as well as the children can. Plus, having this as their origin would explain the
He didn't
behavior
talk about
of those
them.
suits. In FNAF 3,
Why
we
didn't he
see
talk
that
about
Purple
them?
Guy hides in a secret safe room that has been built into every pizzeria. A room that's hidden to customers and invisible to the animatronics programming. During the minigames that occur between nights, we see Shadow Freddy lead the other animatronics to this secret room, only to cause them to glitch out and then get torn apart by Purple Guy. This supernatural origin story is how Shadow Freddy is able to enter the safe room when other animatronics can't. How he's able to lead you to that
So
room
this
in the
is
first
third
place
game
when
stuff.
other animatronics wouldn't be able to see it based on their programming, and even why he leads you there, knowing that Purple Guy attacking
little
you
mice,
will
they're so
eventually free
cute.
your soul. That's also why there's no Purple Freddy suit when you do finally enter that room. It's not an alternate Purple
I remember
Guy
these
costume
games.
like many believe. It's an apparition. Suck on that, Harry Potter. I knew someone would apparate eventually. It also explains why Shadow Bonnie's minigame in FNAF 3 always starts on stage 01, the spring suit.
So he must
Why
have thought
it's
the shadow
one
ones in the
animatronic
second game
control
just
that
weren't
has
important
the
enough to
ghostly
bring up at all?
ability to glitch,
Until
fly,
this came
and
out? But why
teleport.
would they
As
not
we
be worth
concluded
being-
last
being
episode,
brought
this is
up at all?
also the point in the timeline of the first missing children.
Maybe no thought about
the one
it.
we learn about via newspaper clippings in Five Nights 1. So, based on the newspaper clipping evidence we have, we know that the mauve murderer dressed in one of the suits lured children to a back room and killed them. He's starting to develop his signature. But one nagging detail FNAF theorists have been wondering is, what suit does he use for his disguise? The answer? Golden Bonnie. Why? well,
Golden
remember
Bonnie.
the phone guy saying the faulty suits were being retired to an appropriate location. There's a high likelihood they're being stored in one of the safe rooms in the restaurants. Plus, we hear in FNAF 2 that the purple guy has a habit of using a yellow suit.
Oh
We
yeah.
had a spare in the back, a yellow one. Someone used it.
But why not Golden Freddy? Phone Guy tells us so at the beginning of Night 5 in FNAF 3.
Management has also been made aware that the Spring Bonnie animatronic has been noticeably moved.
My, what an oddly specific detail to include, Scott Coffin. And
Noticeably
remember, these tapes
moved.
that play in FNAF 3 date all the way back to the first pizzeria location, which is why this detail is so important. It reflects Purple Guy starting to develop his signature killing pattern. From there, we know the rest of the story. Purple Guy kills the kids, stuffs the bodies into the suits to hide them, but as we read the paper, is caught on camera and arrested. Meanwhile, the puppet gives life to the children, and the angry spirits possess the robots. Or is that really how it goes?
Probably
Let's
not.
Get back to the give gifts, give life minigame. The children are lying there dead, and the puppet
So this is
first
from game
has to
2.
give them
This is so hard to
presents.
follow already.
Weird, right? Weird until you consider that
Or is this
his
from game
place
3?
is at the prize corner.
Never mind, I was
Giving
thinking of the suit
presents
one
is
where you put them in the
only thing
suits.
he knows that can make children happy. It's a reflex. Remember, this
It is game
still
2,
a
okay.
child's spirit in this puppet. But when that doesn't work, the puppet goes around one more time and does the only other thing it can think of. Put the
Yeah,
bodies
that's game 2.
into the suits. You heard that right. In trying to save the children, he's the one hiding them in the animatronic suits. Not the killer like we've been assuming. But then what about the 5th child, as there's only 4 here? Well, as we pointed out last time, the 5th child is there too, appearing at the very end of the minigame and taking the role of Golden Freddy. But remember, Golden Freddy is a decommissioned spring-lock suit at this point, deemed too unsafe to be functional. The reason he's slumped over and can't move like the rest is that his endoskeleton
Why are we learning a
has been
decade's worth of
taken
FNAF?
out.
'Cause it's
He's in
fun.
suit mode, not free roaming mode. He physically doesn't have the mechanisms in place to stand up and move. Possessed or no, a dead child's spirit just can't give a boneless suit the ability to stand. This also explains the lone naked endoskeleton that appears occasionally
I forgot about that.
in both Five Nights 2 and Five Nights 1.
Just wait till the books come out.
Endoskeleton
Oh,
that once
does he make
belonged to
videos
Golden
about the
Freddy.
book
Whew. I know I
stuff?
made you wait for this one, so I knew I had to make it count. Heck, if there ain't a lot to cover. Still with me? Good, because we're ready for our next location. You see, since the puppet hid the bodies, no one knows they're in the suits until they start oozing and smelling. Which,
I mean,
as
there's
we see in the
53
papers,
videos. I
eventually
don't have
gets
to read the
place
books at
shut
least.
down for health violations.
Play the
company
games, don't
tries
have to read.
recover from, quote, the tragedy that took place there many years ago, but can't, and eventually is forced to shut its doors for good. This leads to the trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Finally, we're actually going to talk about a game in the series. Seriously, can you believe we've been going this whole time on locations that aren't even settings for the 3 main games? That is why this lore is so challenging, but also so
I feel like it's
interesting.
amping up for the
Anyway,
end.
forgotten, dismantled, deactivated. These are the words you see at the beginning of the
Does the 4th game come out
Back
next,
when
or the
debate
books?
about whether
Don't
this
answer that.
game
We're gonna
was a
find out in the next
sequel
video.
or a prequel to the first game, these words made it seem like a follow-up, that everything had been shut down since the first game, but it wasn't. These words are a reference to the business being closed down after that first missing children's incident. That's why posters everywhere in Five Nights 2 are all about the brand new Fazbear Pizza. It's the grand reopening after years of being out of business. That's also why the new toy animatronics have built-in facial recognition software to a criminal database. They need to be careful to prevent another incident, but as we know, it doesn't work. As we see in the Save Them minigame, 5 more children get killed in this new location. We know it's the new location because the minigame map's layout perfectly matches this new Fazbear business. We also know it couldn't have happened earlier in the timeline, as both the old animatronics and new toy robots are presented in the game. But this time, the puppet's solution isn't
like the
saving
amping up
kids,
music.
it's
Something big is
stopping the
coming.
killer. He enlists the help of Freddy to try and SAVETHEM, leading
that's
the
spooky.
bear to the killer's location. Except
Oh,
Purple Guy came prepared, equipped with not a phone, but rather something to help him tamper with the animatronics.
A
He
banana.
knows that something fishy is
Wait, is he
going
saying
on
it's not
with
a
these
phone?
robots, because he's been watching, studying. The puppet wants Freddy to save them, to which the killer's answer is only this: you can't. So how did the purple guy manage it when he had been caught years before? What about the bite of 87? How do FNAF 1 and 3 fit in? And most importantly of all,
You're supposed to figure that out.
who is the purple guy? All that next week.
Next week in
Don't
part
worry.
2! Wait.
I'll come back. I always do. In the meantime, it's all just a
The
theory.
theory. A game theory. I'm not gonna do it every time. Okay. Alright. So maybe he really is holding a banana. I'm gonna let this one play because it's different and it's cool. Whoa. He just wants the kids to have more potassium.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory. We may not have made FNAF, but I like to think we've
FNAF.
at least made it a bit more interesting. So in part 1 of this long-awaited, all-questions-answered FNAF theory, we covered everything from the origins of the shadow animatronics to
You
the
know what?
reason
I'm gonna
for
order
Freddy's
my
ghostly
California Pizza Kitchen
behavior,
now.
the proof of what
We're getting a
suit
little
the
pizza
killer
party while we're
uses.
watching
We
the rest of
clarified
the
timeline and even
I
went
almost said
so far
Phasmophobia,
as to
Five Nights at
dispel the
Freddy's.
myth that the killer is the one shoving the bodies into the suits. Click here if you
I'm
guys
not
want to
making
get
it through
caught
the
up.
day
Don't
without
worry,
ordering a
I'll
pizza,
wait.
so I'm just
This
gonna do
is
it
a pausable video
now.
after all. But today we're covering the major questions
Pizza.
from the franchise, the final bits of the timeline, the ending of the game, and most importantly of all, the identity of the purple guy. So
I put
enough
this up
intro,
today.
let's
I earned
cut
it.
To the chase.
Cut
When we
to
left
the
things off, there had
chase.
been another round of murder done in Fazbear Pizza. Purple
Another
guy
round?
had once again used a golden Bonnie suit to lure in another set of 5 kids and kill them, as depicted in the Save Them minigame from FNAF 2. The place gets closed for investigation a few days later, but the one thing that practically everyone overlooks in this location is that it gets reopened. In FNAF 2, the Night 1 phone call welcomes you to your new summer job at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
Hello and welcome to your new
I'd rather work at camp.
the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza.
And I've worked at camp. It's
Summer
awful.
job. And yet, the paycheck at the end of the week reads November. There is not a single
Oh.
place in the world where November is a summer month.
Is that true? Nowhere.
One. Meaning that these tapes, all these tapes...
I know Australia's
are
summer is when our
pre-recorded.
winter
And
is.
honestly, that shouldn't be a surprise. Phone Guy's calls are recordings in every game. In FNAF 1, before Phone Guy dies, he says he's glad he recorded these messages when
Oh
he
yeah,
did.
the recordings. They're not real.
I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you.
And then in FNAF 3, they find
Dude, this
the old
lore is so
training tapes the
interesting.
Phone Guy made.
First of all, we found some vintage audio training cassettes. Dude, these are like prehistoric. I think they were like training tapes.
In short, all of Phone Guy's messages are unstuck in time, not recorded anytime near your tenure as security guard. That includes the ones in FNAF 2 talking about children going missing. The pizzeria isn't being shut down for an investigation of some missing children the week you happen to be working there. You're listening to old tapes meant for the night security guard from months ago. Need more proof? Night 6's call references a birthday party happening as the last event before the building closes. But what decorations do we see put up throughout the building for the entirety of the week you're working there? Happy birthday banners.
Oh.
You betcha. Game-changing? Absolutely. This means that both Jeremy and Fritz, the characters you play as throughout FNAF 2, aren't the killer purple guy at all. They were both working in November, after the yellow suit investigation and the killer getting charged. Which brings us to the other key point in the timeline, the
Oh.
bite of 87.
The bite!
Since we heard about this mysterious frontal lobe nibble on that first fateful night at Freddy's, we've wanted to know more about this bizarre attack, the one that ends up resulting in animatronics no longer being allowed to walk around during the day. But now, 3 games in, we do know
But they
more.
walk around
We
at
know
night.
It took place in the location of FNAF 2 based on the 1987 date on Jeremy's paycheck. And furthermore, the newspaper clipping that ends FNAF 2 gives us a clue that it's the bite which closes this version of the restaurant, not some serial killing. Quote, after being open a few short weeks, the
Only a few
restaurant is
weeks.
closing its doors, the article says, with the new animatronics being scrapped for possible malfunction. That's game designer Scott Cawthon telling us that one of the new toy animatronics bit someone during the day. Why else would the new robots be scrapped while the old ones get kept for possible reorganization? Well, outside of an obvious need to retcon why these new robots didn't appear in Five Nights 1, it's because the company consider them safer, relatively speaking. So, then who's the biter? Well, it's none other than the pile of scraps and parts, Mangle. The most obvious clue
Oh, I
is the
hated him!
animatronic's unhinged
Ew.
jaw. The frontal lobe is the biggest part of the human brain, and the size
You take
and
the whole
shape
lobe?
of the other toy robots' mouths just wouldn't be able to handle the size of the human head.
Is that true? A child's head? You don't know how
narrow
big these are.
snout and wide open mouth.
Oh, I
There's
don't
also
like
Mangle's
you.
sharper teeth and potential angle of attack.
Don't
As
like
shown
you.
by its jump scare, Mangle goes for the top of the head. And who got bit? Well, there isn't enough evidence to say definitively, but your most likely candidate would be fan favorite Jeremy Fitzgerald.
I'm the
Jeremy
bite.
passes the
I'm the
test,
one
and
that
on
got
his
bit.
paycheck at the end of the week, he's welcomed into the family, presumably getting moved to day shift. Fritz gets hired to replace him on day 7, but then promptly gets fired for tampering with the animatronics. That means
Fritz, what
he's
you
not
touching
likely
them
the one to
for?
get bit, and instead the person who follows him on day shift is, leaving Jeremy as the most likely frontal lobeless candidate. But
That's why he's
regardless
not
of
there
whether
on
it's
day
Jeremy or
6.
some other
I didn't even
customer
realize it
we've
was 2
never
people
met,
in that
someone
game.
gets bit, the restaurant closes for good, and as the newspaper clippings show, the old animatronics go into storage awaiting a smaller location with a lower budget. Fast forward to the 90s and FNAF 1. We know it's the 90s based on the hourly rate of the paycheck received by Mike Schmidt, security guard extraordinaire from the first game, something we proved in our first Five Nights video. And now we can breathe a sigh of relief, because this was the beautiful time long ago.
We're not going to be
when
breathing a
us
sigh of
artists,
relief when the
games
game
weren't so
4 comes out.
complicated, when the biggest mysteries were a game-crashing gold bear and the words "It's me." No death
True.
games,
Simpler
no
times.
puppets, no need to
So much
shoehorn
simpler.
in extra overcomplicated storylines. That all would come later when the first game became a smash hit and got itself some sequels. And boy, did
Oh,
those
it's
sequels
gonna
make
get
things
more!
complicated, as both featured 8-bit minigames revealing more details about this location from the original game. First things first, we know that the purple guy kills 5 children here. We see it in the Foxy Go.
Okay, I needed a
Go
recap.
minigame
This is
from
good.
FNAF 2. Foxy runs past a grinning purple guy.
He
to
kinda
see
lost
5
me for
dead
a bit.
bodies. Sorry,
It's
no
just so
fireworks
much.
this time, Foxy. And how do
It's
we
so
know
complicated.
it's the FNAF 1 location? Well, it's the only time in the game when Foxy's stage, Pirate Cove, is located to the west of a dining area. See how he performs for the children by running to the right? That matches the map layout of the FNAF 1 pizzeria. We also know from the FNAF 3 minigames that this is where the purple guy dies inside a golden Springlock Bonnie suit in a safe room near the back. One built so that it would never show up on camera, conveniently explaining why it never appeared in the first game. But hold on, weren't those safe rooms sealed up a long time ago? I mean, we touched on this last episode, but the old recordings of Phone Guy we listened to throughout
Phone
FNAF
Guy.
3 say that these rooms are being closed off, discontinued, and will never be mentioned again. Why would a location 20 years later possess a safe room unless it was the same building as the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location? That's why it's in such disrepair when we see it in the FNAF 3 minigames, boarded up with rats on the floor. It's been
They're little
closed
mice and they're
down for years,
cute.
which also means the dead kids from the Foxy Go 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 minigame aren't another set of new victims, cause seriously, at this point, the killer would have made his way through like a short bus full of pizza-hungry children. No, those kids are the first 5 dead kids, the ones
That
who
makes
would
sense.
eventually
That makes more
possess
sense.
Old Bonnie,
But I've
Chica,
played
Freddy
all of the games
Foxy,
now,
and
most of
Golden
them.
Freddy. I mean, look, if the animatronics were possessed at this point, don't you think Foxy would be attacking Purple Guy rather than just running past him to perform for some dead kids? This also explains the random cutscene from FNAF 2 where the puppet's looking into Freddy's eyes. You
I
can
hated
tell
this.
by the tables in the background and the design of both Bonnie and Chica that this is the FNAF 1 location with the old animatronics on stage. But it's not a flash
Don't like
forward
that.
to the game's next location, but rather a flash back to the
What?
moment the puppet brought these characters, these children, to life. Okay, but that's just tying together some loose ends in the story.
So many
We're
more loose
interested
ends.
in how this whole thing ends, and those FNAF 3 minigames give us the conclusion we're looking for.
I
These
don't remember
flashback
these
minigames show
minigames too
Purple Guy
much.
dismantling the
I don't think I
animatronics
played
from the
any of them.
security of the safe room one by one. But in doing so, he's unwittingly releasing the spirits of his former victims. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Golden Freddy. When their powers combine, they are able to scare Purple Guy into the Golden Bonnie Springlock suit, which fails, crushes him pretty much to the point of death, though notice we never actually see him die, and the spirits fade away. Golden Bonnie, with Purple Guy inside, now known as Springtrap, rots away in the safe room for years until he's finally uncovered by the founders of Fazbear's Fright from the 3rd game. With the discovery of Springtrap, this haunted house attraction inspired by the years of mystery and murder,
And
of
that's
the
finally the
Pizzeria,
3rd
finally
game,
has
which
their
we've barely
first
talked about
real
because it always goes
animatronic,
back
who
to
then
the other
haunts the player
games.
for
I gotta
5
sneeze.
nights and a nightmare night
I never
until
ordered
the
my
place
pizza. How did I get that
burns down
distracted?
due to
What
faulty
what stopped me?
wiring. The end.
Did I
Take
just
a
use-
bow. It's finally over. Well, kinda. We're still left with
It's not
one
over.
final, seemingly impossible
You think one
question to
final.
answer. Who
Many more.
is the purple guy? After
the
spending,
purple
I
guy?
kid you not, full days plotting out all the details of this game franchise on whiteboards, talking it over with anyone who would stand to listen to me ramble on and on about fictional haunted robots, and just looking at it from every possible angle, all logic points to it being...
What? What? Part 2, first half. Are there 2 halves to part 2? Is there a part 3? Why couldn't you just make a part 3? Part 2, second half.
has their first real animatronic, who then haunts the player for 5 nights and a nightmare.
This is riveting. Thank you everyone who stayed to watch these.
Take a bow. It's
This is so
finally
fun.
over. Well, kinda. We're still left with
Oh,
one
it's never
final,
over.
seemingly
never
impossible
over.
question to answer. Who is the purple guy? After spending, I kid you not, full days plotting out all the details
Bro.
of this game
Why
franchise.
is this
on
not just part
whiteboards,
3?
Talking it over with anyone who would stand to listen to me ramble on and on about fictional haunted
I am picking a
robots, and just
pizza.
looking at it from every possible angle, all logic points to it being
And I have salad.
the phone guy. And no, not because I made a theory about it and refused to let it die. Honestly, I couldn't care
Okay,
less if that
so we're
last
still
video was
thinking
wrong.
at this point,
I just care
Purple
about the
guy is
truth,
phone
and
guy.
phone
He
guy
definitely
makes
has
the
a little
most
badge, which
logical
means he was a
sense.
security guard.
I know your complaints, and I promise you, if you stick with me, you'll be convinced. First, there's the circumstantial evidence I presented.
Oh yeah, a lot of people didn't agree. This was like a very split opinion theory.
Purple guy sprite during the Foxy Go 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 minigame. His distrust of the puppet, a creature haunted
It's just
by
a
his first
banana, I'm
victim
telling you.
that we
If
see
it ends up being a
time and
banana,
time again
I want
trying to
money.
bring a stop to his killing
There's no way it
spree.
ends up being
His
a banana.
admitted role as a security guard, and even the weird.
Oh man, the
phone-like
pasta at California
object
Pizza
in his
Kitchen looks
hand
good
from the Save Them
too.
minigame. But there's even more evidence when we consider Five Nights 3. Consider this. He's the only person in the game who knows about the safe rooms. As we've mentioned before, all the safe rooms were sealed up back in the Springlock suit days, back in the first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location, meaning every other employee coming afterward would have never even heard of these things. Phone Guy is the only character we meet who would have any knowledge of these rooms, and more importantly, of how they operate, how they're invisible to the cameras, and more importantly, to the animatronics. And that's just the beginning.
Oh my god, is
He's
that Balloon
also the
Boy?
only
Oh my
person
god, I
who
forgot about all
knows how to
those.
Use the Springlock suits. Again, once they were decommissioned,
Okay, I have to
the
pay attention.
suits
I'm
were
ordering
hidden
pizza.
away.
Got it, done.
Regardless of whether you believe that the killer used a golden Bonnie
As if I
suit
can't
the
go
whole
back.
time, or you think he used a golden Freddy suit.
Scrubby
Either
Sage,
way,
thank you
we
for
know for a
subscribing.
fact
Hojo
the
Boj, thank
killer
you for the
was
Prime.
using one of the
I missed
yellow
all of these.
Springlock
Omega Lono, thank you
suits,
for
and
22
Phone
months.
Guy is the only
Insomnia Pancake, thank you for your year. And Creepo, thank you for 6 months.
character we know who had knowledge of
We're having a
A,
pizza
where they
party!
were hidden, and B,
We having
how they were
pizza!
operated safely. Now, I
And
know
then
a lot of
tomorrow
people have
is
said
my
that he
first
couldn't have
day
picked
of not
Phone
ordering
Guy
food.
because he knew better. He knew that they were dangerous.
That's
and
when my
could
meals
kill
that
him,
I
so
got
if he
arrive
was
anyway.
indeed the purple guy, he wouldn't just hop
Nat
into a
Bug, thank you for
Springtrap suit
subscribing.
like we see depicted at the ending of FNAF
John,
3.
thank you for
But
continuing your
there's
gifted
one
sub.
key detail that everyone has been overlooking, and that Scott carefully included in this game. Listen.
Oh, the rain in the back?
You hear it? There's rain. There are puddles on the ground. It's dripping from the ceiling. The killer had been using these Springlock suits safely for years, but in his panic to escape the ghosts, he failed to notice the wetness of the building around him. The killer had
There's a
never
leak!
encountered this problem before
There's a
because
leak!
the building had always been in a decent state of repair, but now it's a wreck, torn apart by age. Rain is able to seep in, something he didn't realize when he was in such a hurry to run away from the ghosts.
Oh, and
if
that's why he
moist
broke.
breath can loosen the locks, you can bet some rain would make those suckers ready to snap shut. And they do, killing our killer. I mean, all of that makes a pretty compelling argument, almost an open and shut case, if there wasn't one final major criticism to the phone guy theory.
Shroom
since
Shroom, thank you for the
release of
Prime.
FNAF 3, and it's a good one. The fact that phone guy
The games aren't done yet.
died during his night 4 phone call from the first game.
Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow. It's been a bad night here for me. I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you when I did.
If phone guy was the killer, why would the robots still be active after his death and the ghosts disappear? It just wouldn't make sense unless you stop to consider the rest of FNAF 3's endings. The big twist in FNAF 3 is the inclusion of a good and
Star-Lord
bad
has
ending.
woken up.
By completing the game normally, you get the bad ending, in which we see Purple Guy die in a flashback minigame, and the whole thing ends with 5 masks representing the 5 main animatronics with lights on behind their eyes. The good ending means
Cat. Oh my god, I'm so much lower. Whoa. What are these? What are you doing here? What's going on there? What's this? That's no good. That's no good. I was trying to reach it before. I think if I put this sign... Hi, baby. Good girl. That's the love of my life, my lady girl. Let me try and make this... Because I think I have to go over here. Is that going to fix it? Now it's darker. What are these little stripes? I've never seen that before. Cameras do that when there are neon signs usually. Oh, what a bummer. It's super, super not noticeable until you get to the sign. Ew, is it worse when it's lower? Now you can really see the sign. Star? Hello? She's zoned out. Well, that's kind of a bummer. What does it look like when it's off? But I needed it for light, for the background. It's not that bad. Ow. Let me roll back in. I think I'm still fudging with my lighting situation in my room. Well, now I know it's there, so now I'm aware of it, which is just fantastic. Someone told me they flipped their Elgato lights to face the wall instead of them, but I feel like it'd be way too dark at nighttime. I also might put my... Let me see how it looks with this on. Hi, Star. Is it good or bad with what we call house lights on? I'm going to leave the sign on the dimmest, though. I think that looks cool. Oop, drop my headphones. Oop. Worse. But once it starts getting really dark... Yeah, I like it better without. I don't know. We're going to keep watching videos. But you know what, since we're here, I'm going to pee break. I'll be right back. Why can't the sun stay out longer for me? Why can't it stay out longer for me? It's bogus. All right. My pizza's ordered. Y'all craving pizza too? Because we having a pizza party here. I got my pizza on the way. I think what I need is a third light in my room, like a softbox light, just pointed at my room or something. We're going to figure it out. I feel like I'm getting closer and closer. Love the neon signs still. Big fan.
Hidden clues to unlock
Big fan.
games, then basically ignoring those games, glitching them out, and giving hidden dead kids cake to make them happy.
What?
Obviously referring to the victims of Purple Guy. Beat the game this time, and the ending is largely the same, but with one fewer animatronic mask and no lights on. The obvious difference here is
I can't
that
wait
in
till
the
we're
good
back in
ending,
daylight
souls of
savings, so the
dead
sun
children have been put at
sets
peace.
later.
When they disappear for good. They don't go back to their animatronic bodies. But the bad ending? The lights on behind the eyes of all 5 masks mean that these guys are still active. Angry, restless spirits still haunting the robots to this day.
Forgot about there
Because
being multiple
here's the
endings on that.
thing. The good ending doesn't exist until you, as the player of the 3rd installment, give cake to those kids during FNAF 3's hidden minigames. What you play in
forgot
FNAF 1,
that game
though,
had
is
2
the
endings.
aftermath of the bad ending, when the animatronics have killed Phone Guy, but are still out for vengeance. Yeah, you made it through those first 5 nights at Freddy's. You overheard the death of the Purple Guy recorded live on the phone, but it wasn't enough. You got the bad ending. Even with the killer crippled in the back room in a spring-lock suit, the lights are still on in these animatronics. They're still roaming the halls, attacking anyone wearing that
Does that mean there's 2
much-needed
timelines
security
now?
guard outfit. People like Mike Schmidt, an innocent guy just trying to do his job at a failing pizza restaurant. And as the final nail in the coffin, what Phone Guy says in his Night 4 recording perfectly foreshadows what we see in the games.
Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. I'm gonna try to hold out until someone checks. Maybe it won't be so bad. Yeah, I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there.
He
Think
just said
about what
empty.
Purple Guy does.
He just said they were
Hides in
empty.
the back room, the safe room, hides in a suit, and despite getting sprung trapped, actually does hold out until someone checks. Holds out long enough for the phone dude to find the hidden safe room, recover the animatronic, and set him free in Fazbear Fright.
Wait, does that mean that they're 2 different
Exactly
people?
what the Phone Guy said he'd do in his final moments. And as Springtrap, he comes back in FNAF 3. Comes back like he always does. And with no real animatronics present at Fazbear's Fright, remember Springtrap is the only real one they've found, with all the rest scattered.
Jeez, I
probably
hate that
located in
thing.
dumps, which is why their bodies and faces are decayed.
Oh, I hate
All
him
that
so
the spirits
much.
can do is appear as phantoms, hallucinations. Well, all except one. The puppet, who we see in his physical form roaming the hallways
so
of
tall.
Fazbear Fright. So real, in fact, that we see his reflection visible in the pools of water under his
Oh.
feet, meaning he is there and unburnt. There's only one way to truly end this. End the murderous Purple Guy, burning the place to the ground. The puppet gave robots life, gave spirits peace, and finally gave the murderer, the Phone Guy, his long-deserved death, or at least tried to. And that is the end of the 5 Nights at Freddy's
No, it
story.
isn't.
No cat, no movie,
It never
no
is.
4th installment.
What? Oh, no.
Cat.
No.
Cat.
No, no, no.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what happened? What's wrong?
I'm invested. I need to know what happened.
Look.
Oh no.
Oh, the next game!
That's
The next game!
Sorry, Scott Cawthon. I'm tired of waiting for you.
FNAF 4
This
got it
time
all
you'll have to
wrong.
keep up
So-
with me. Oh, never
Wait.
mind.
This is about FNAF 4. Now it says the final G. Did he say that about the last one too? He should know better now.
There. Oh, it's being released October 31st. Okay, let me plan my entire schedule around that. Never mind, it's now in August. Okay, fine, let me rework everything. Lols.
Did he make this before the game came out?
Now.
Oh, never mind.
You, Scott Cawthon, are the reason I have an emotional dependence on Diet Coke.
Me
But
too!
today I'll be sipping that
Actually
sweet,
decided to
sweet
stop drinking
Diet
soda.
Coke in sweet, sweet victory.
Today.
Because guess what?
I didn't order
win.
it with my pizza.
Scott, in your rush to get the game out, to get out ahead of my theories and completely
Oh, I
flip-flam
did
the
play
internet
FNAF
and
4.
shock
Okay, I
everyone by
forgot about
releasing
it.
the game 3 months
I have
early,
played all
you
of
missed
them
a
so far.
huge detail. Maybe before releasing the game, you should have spent a bit more time researching, because this game, as you've presented it, is impossible. Let me explain. Basically,
Ooh,
it's all
I'm
but
invested.
confirmed at this point
You're
that
in a
FNAF
bedroom.
4, you play as the victim of the bite of 87, and that this game is either his nightmare or what he's seeing in a coma as he recovers from his injuries.
Can you recover
Let me
from
run you
having
through
your
the
whole
evidence
frontal
real quick
lobe
so that we're all on
eaten?
the same page. First, in the months leading up to the release of the game,
I
there were
didn't actually
clues hidden in
I
the
thought he
source code
died.
for some of the teasers on Scott's website, with the numbers 87,
Whoa.
87 repeated over and over again. 2 numbers that anyone who has
Yeah, 4 is the bedroom where you're playing as a child. I did play that one. I don't know how far I got in that one. I don't even know if there are YouTube videos of me playing it even at all, or if I only streamed them. I don't remember.
The same question. Was it me? Which seems to refer to the actual attacker of the bite itself. But there was one more word we saw repeated throughout the teasers: nightmare. Hidden over top of multiple teaser images was
She's
that
awake and
exact
wandering
word.
around
That,
now.
combined with the Freddy Krueger-ish design of the animatronics, with teeth and
Dude.
claws everywhere, something far different from how we've seen these things designed in the past, seemed to indicate that this would be the way a child would imagine these creatures if he had had a traumatic
okay.
experience with
Well, you
them,
can
making
survive.
it seem like what we would be
I just
playing
assumed
would be
that
a
was-
dream.
Oh yeah, they said no one died in that
The first words are,
that closed
"What
down
do
the
you
restaurant.
think
It
you
was just
see?"
the bite,
making us question
which
the
means he didn't die.
reality of the images in the game. But there was also something that everyone seemed to overlook about this trailer: the appearance of the number 4. Scott doesn't do things randomly, as I'm sure we're all
It's the
aware by
4th
now.
game.
And notice the movement of the 4. It starts off in a horizontal plane, like it was laying down on something.
This is
say a
beyond
bed,
me.
But then wakes up to stand vertically before the trailer ends. Even that remnant red rectangle is meant to symbolize the bed. Everything seems to be letting us know that what we're seeing
It's a
isn't
dream.
really real. It's a dream, or better yet, a nightmare. Now, fast forward to the game's release, or I suppose casually meander to the game's release since it wasn't too long afterwards, and we see that this theory still holds. Flowers, an IV, and pills will occasionally show up next to your bed. Classical medical supplies
So
that
the kid that
show
got
us that
bit.
this is a child in recovery. Foxy, who's hiding in a closet, will transform
How are these
back to a
considered
plush
child-friendly?
toy if you hold the door
Are
closed
they?
on it
Who
long
said they
enough,
were?
making it seem like this was all
Are
a
they
dream
considered
or
child-friendly? Were they ever
hallucination.
considered
And of course, the biggest
child-friendly?
piece of evidence of all, the cutscene that ends night 5.
I don't know if anything's
which,
in
if
this
you don't wanna
horror
spoil
genre
it, click
is
here to
considered
skip.
child-friendly.
All of
I
you
don't know.
skip now? Good. Actually shows the bite
If they
of
were ever
87
claimed to
take
be for
place
children.
in the mouth of
What is
the
it rated?
golden Fredbear.
What's it rated on
This is
Steam?
Further supported by the quote-unquote boss of the game being that same golden
Yikes.
Fredbear.
Oh, I
During the
remember
final
this
nights,
game.
He's the one who ends up stalking you. All the other animatronics disappear. You're being haunted.
There
by
is
the
no blood or
suit that
swearing,
bit
so
you.
it at least can
So yeah, that's it.
be
All
rated
the
that way,
evidence
but you
points to
already
the
know
victim
going
of
in it's
87
supposed to be
being our
scary, so that's on the
protagonist,
parent,
the character we're playing
I
as
guess.
in FNAF 4. Good job,
New
Scott.
ones are
You
rated
finally put
teen.
together
That
a
makes
game with
sense.
a coherent plot line. Except
I guess without blood, but that's just up to the parent if
Scott
they
Cawthon, if
consider
all of us
anything
are right
considered
in our
scary
theory,
and
then you,
child-friendly to
sir,
really be
are
scary.
wrong.
You
Just
know,
when
you
it
want
looked like you
to
were
have your
making a
kid play a
game
scary
that
game,
actually
okay.
adhered to its own lore, you also made
I mean,
a
kids
game
play
that
that.
is
Tons of scary
completely
games.
impossible from a
Some kids are just not
scientific
scared.
perspective. Loyal theorists, it's time we give Scott's latest bag of tricks a little lesson in real-life science. While frontal lobe injuries aren't as uncommon as people think, actually they happen.
Oh, we're
all the
gonna go
time,
into
car
what
accidents,
happens if
playing
you survive
football,
losing your
falling
frontal
down,
lobe.
etc. Having your whole
'Cause
frontal
the kid
lobe bitten off has
that
a
was
much
bit
more
was not
profound
killed,
impact on mental
perhaps.
and physical functions.
Bruh.
You come with a whole slew of symptoms from motor skill impairment to nervous system issues, but the side effects we're most concerned with today would all be psychological. Removal of the frontal lobe significantly impacts the victim's ability to process certain types of stimuli, specifically fear stimuli. Let me give you some backstory. In the good old 1940s,
Wasn't there
and
blood at the
50s,
end of Sister
psychiatrists
Location?
often
I
thought
mean,
the best
those
way to
ones
cure
later,
problems
that
with
one's
your
rated
brain
teen then
were to
too.
cut pieces
But
out.
I don't
Feeling
remember there
depressed?
being blood.
Well,
Oh,
let's
there
let
was
that
blood.
out. Overly aggressive? That chunk probably wasn't important.
But that's
As
the
such,
later
there
games
are
are rated teen.
extremely
They're not.
well-documented
Definitely not for
studies of
kids if they're
patients
rated teen.
without frontal lobes.
Although teens
and
are
what's
kids.
fascinating about them was what happened to their fear
I don't
response.
know.
Patients without a frontal lobe become
This one's the
uninhibited
scariest, you
because they
think?
no longer have a fear response. Way back
I don't
in my
know.
Fallout
Sister Location was
episode,
kinda
we looked
spooky.
in depth at the most famous accidental lobotomy in history, Phineas Gage, who
What?
literally had an iron rod
So this is a
shot
whole medical
straight
one.
through his head, completely destroying his left frontal lobe. One of the most striking differences between pre-pole Phineas and post-pole Phineas was his sense of inhibition. And by that I mean post-pole Phineas had none. He had no sense
Whoa.
of caution, no sense of fear or self-consciousness. He was
Wish I had
described to be
that.
impulsive to the point of being rude and vulgar
Oh, never
in
mind.
public.
Never mind.
No
Maybe just a little bit.
fear,
I'll keep
no
a little bit of
anxiety,
self-consciousness.
No social pressure anywhere. Going back to the game, one of the things Scott does a great job of throughout the FNAF franchise is putting you in the eyes of Mike or Jeremy or whoever. We feel invested in our protagonist because we are that character. But in this case, that's scientifically impossible. Specifically,
I mean, I don't remember how much
because
story
of
you
the
get in the
bite of
4th game
87.
other than
If
the fact that
main
you're playing as a
character
kid in a
of this game
bedroom.
truly is little Timmy lost a lobe, he
We don't
would
know
wander
for sure. We're
around
playing the kid that got
house,
bit
clicking a
necessarily, but
flashlight on and off.
so
Why would he?
seems like it.
He doesn't care because tragically he no longer has the capacity to care. His brain
Did you eat
structure
food?
no longer
Good
allows
girl.
it. As if this weren't enough, a frontal lobe injury also tampers with concentration and attention span. The main character in the game is still supposed to be concentrated over a long period of multiple hours. But the thing is,
Do you like my
patients
sign,
without
Star?
frontal lobes don't
She's
have
checking it
this
out. I forgot. She
ability.
hasn't seen
In
it yet. She was
fact,
asleep.
They can only stay focused on
She's
what
been
they
sleeping
see
this whole time.
immediately happening in front of them. A child missing a frontal lobe who repeatedly turned a flashlight on and off in a hallway without seeing anything.
Yeah, I just would be
lose
crying.
Interest. They wouldn't have the mental wiring.
And if I was a kid,
necessary
I would
to
also just
concentrate
be
on
crying.
self-preservation. They would literally just go back to bed. The game is impossible the way it's being presented.
going on the bed?
Because it would
Oh, there
literally
she goes.
be over
Onto the bed.
before it began. But the final and biggest nail in the coffin for this one is how frontal lobe injuries affect the imagination. The frontal lobe controls a ton of mental processing abilities, including dreams. You might
Okay.
think that an uncontrollable imagination
Decided I
would
liked
lead
my
to
frontal
exactly
lobe.
the kind of nightmares or hallucinations you see in this game, but in fact, it's the exact opposite. Rigorous studies have been done on the imagination.
Oh, there's 2 bites?
Of lobotomized patients.
Well, that just sounds like
While
poor
patients
planning.
without
That's going to be
frontal lobe
confusing, of
can have
course.
Dreams, one thing they can't have is nightmares. Patients missing a frontal lobe carry their lack
I
of
thought the
fear
frontal
and
lobe bite
inhibition
was the bite
straight
of
into their
87 because I
dreams.
thought it
Why
happened in
not?
87.
It makes sense. If the
Uh-oh,
mind isn't
don't
registering
tell me
fear
anything.
consciously,
Oh,
there's
I
no
don't think I
reason
know
to
about
process
another
it
bite yet.
subconsciously in a dream.
I only know
Studies
about
show that
frontal lobe
lobotomized
bite.
Patients can dream about
Uh-oh.
idyllic scenarios, money, fame, praise, but they can't dream about the monsters under the bed, or in this case, the Foxy in the closet,
Bro.
making the nightmare state of FNAF 4 impossible for the victim of the bite of 87. In fact, going back to the dark days of psychiatry,
But we think-
some patients who experience
Wait,
the
what?
kind
He
of
just said
recurring
bite of
nightmare we
87.
see in FNAF 4 actually have
Did
their
we already
frontal
learn about
lobes
both bites?
intentionally removed to stop these dreams from happening. One famous
What?
case describes a patient who was experiencing a recurring dream of being chased by ferocious animals. After the patient received the lobotomy in 1953, yes, he still had the dream,
She's
but would
burrowing.
instead describe it as being a nice dream with some nice animals. His visions in the dream were no longer threatening. The animals were happy.
Is he saying Mario got a
was
lobotomy?
happy,
What is
and he
happening?
was no longer able to perceive any of the fear he once had prior to the surgery. So scientifically speaking, there is no single way the main character of FNAF 4 can be the bite of 87 victim, like Scott seems to have indicated. Sure, the game could be about
Okay,
another kid.
not the kid
Yes, but that would be lame.
from the bite of
No,
87,
this game is
which he
meant
is
to be
referring to
about
as the frontal
victim
lobe
of the
one.
bite of 87, the poor kid who wasn't just attacked at the restaurant, but continues to be tortured through nightmarish visions, dreams, coma-induced hallucinations, whatever. I have zero doubt that that's what Scott intended, but
Different
the fact
kid.
of the matter is, he just didn't do enough homework. A kid with those
He didn't
sorts
do
of
enough homework in his own
injuries
game.
wouldn't care about those things in the first place. He would have no fear, and there would be no animatronics, real or imaginary, that would be able to keep him up at night. Biologically speaking,
Flambe Kitten, thank you
nothing
for
he would be
subscribing.
experiencing would be any scarier than the fan.
The fan.
The fan. Sorry, Scott. Better luck in the movie. But hey, that's
We never got a
just
movie.
a theory. A game theory.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
So
There's gotta be a
there wasn't a lot of information that came out of the game itself, it seems, from 4, because most of this was just medical jargon that provided this was the real world. These are the things that would happen, but there wasn't much lore in it. Hello, welcome, dudes! We're watching Videos about FNAF. We're on like the 5th one that MatPat ever made. He made 53. So we're not going to be watching all of them. We are going to watch a bunch of them. And I already ordered pizza because we're making this pizza party. So we're going to watch now, as of this video that we're watching now, there have been 4 FNAF games. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's all we got so far.
Code to open.
FNAF will never end. MatPat finally learned in this one. After the 3rd one, he was like, oh, the end of the series.
One movie.
Incident of 83!
One phone guy, one killer, hex code for purple backwards. Is that Markiplier?
What? What?
Yes, Matt.
What?
It was me. It was me the whole time. And that's no theory.
What's this all about? I'm gonna listen to this intro. Oh, never mind. Wait, hello? Yeah, we'll let it play. What the heck? Welcome, dudes! Why is the intro gonna go this hard? It goes so hard.
Hello, Internet. Welcome
Hello,
to the
MatPat.
Five Nights at Freddy's podcast. Oh, sorry, I mean Game Theory. Game Theory. The show that covers theories on other games in the 2-week intervals between new installments of FNAF.
Nope, we're here for FNAF.
Requests for games other than
Although I
FNAF
did used to
or
watch
later
just
features.
every
This
single video that ever came out. I haven't watched in a long time,
because
clearly, because I didn't know.
Confession, Internet,
There were
I made a
53
mistake
videos on Five Nights at Freddy's,
in
or
my
that there even
last
could
FNAF
be.
Video. Not my research, mind you. My
Ghost
conclusion that this kid
E-Dump, thank you for the 100
scientifically could not be
bits.
the bite of
Pizza
87
party while watching
victim was
FNAF.
actually
I ordered my
100%
pizza,
right,
it's on
both
its way.
scientifically and, as you've been eager to point out, lore-wise. No, I was wrong in calling this the bite of 87.
Isn't there a video that explains everything? Yeah, but that's less fun. We're watching the game theories.
After all, right? Anyway, in this case, Scott was sure to let me know my error in his first comment on any of my videos on the franchise, to my knowledge, which was really
Living the
exciting,
New
but
York
it did
dream.
leave me
No,
wondering,
'cause it's not
did I
New
feel
York
honored
pizza.
or trolled? And let me
Which
just
is
say, because you were
automatically worse
asking,
pizza
I didn't delete
if
that
it's not New
comment.
York
I only
pizza.
delete comments from game theorist bots. No, I don't want your free PSN codes, okay? So I guess Scott must have deleted it himself. Maybe there was a typo. Or maybe a clue to FNAF 5.
Ooh.
Before we get that far
Orion
ahead, let's
Starboy,
close
thank you
the
for
book
gifting
on
a sub. I
season
appreciate
4.
it.
First, let's set the record straight on where it takes place. It does not take place
Not
at
Northeast
Fredbear
Pizza, I'm sad
Family
for you.
Diner, but rather
Northeast
the
ain't good
first
enough. It's gotta be
location
New
of
York or
Freddy
bust, or
Fazbear's
North Jersey,
Pizza,
that counts
the one from the old phone guy
Jersey
days
pizza's
found
the same
in FNAF
pizza.
3. But the spring lock yellow suits are
Okay,
the
so this is still only after the 4 games?
You're right. They obviously
I don't think the
are,
5th
but
one has come
remember,
out yet.
Phone Guy's tapes in FNAF 3 welcome you to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, not Fredbear Diner, before he tells you about their, quote, specially designed suits. Roll that cassette tape.
Welcome to your new career as a performer/entertainer for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Right now, we have 2 specially designed suits that double as both animatronic and
This is original Phone
Specially
Guy?
designed, i.e. not in existence during the Fredbear era. Plus, in that same set of phone calls, Phone Guy tells us
Bro.
the suits have become
This lore is
decommissioned
so
after an incident
complicated.
where there were, quote, multiple simultaneous spring lock failures. What do we see at the end of FNAF 4?
Simultaneous.
An incident where multiple spring locks fail simultaneously and a child dies. And let me be
That's
clear, because the
one
terminology
bite.
is pretty confusing. In the game, the word spring lock is used to describe both the suit as a whole and the individual locking mechanisms within that suit. A spring lock suit is made up of multiple spring locks. To have
No
multiple
way.
simultaneous spring lock failures, like Phone Guy says, would either
Don't
mean
I get put in a
multiple
spring
suits
lock
going
suit?
down at
Why
the
do they
same
keep making
time,
those
which is a bit
by the time
coincidental
Sister
and hard to
Location came
believe,
out?
or
Don't answer that.
multiple locks within the same suit collapse at the same time, causing a catastrophic failure. Say, for instance, because a child
Dude.
is squirming to escape and his tears are moistening the locks. Crunch. And besides, don't you think it'd be weird for Fredbear's Diner to use these suits?
Yeah, we don't know
and
anything about
kill
the diner except for the
child,
little
sell
videos,
company,
the little
and then
mini
Freddy
games.
Fazbear's Pizza starts using them again? It just wouldn't make a lot of sense.
Nothing made
Long
sense yet.
story long, although
Nothing makes
Fredbear and
sense.
Springtrap are the featured attractions at this restaurant. This is a Freddy Fazbear branded joint. One dating back
Is
to,
this the 5th
as we
game?
see on the TV
Has that come out
set,
now? Oh my god, my pizza is coming
1983.
soon.
But enough
It is
about
on the way.
timeline. I don't want to dwell on it in this episode.
I do want to dwell on
Having
it.
a general placement of the timeline is enough because the most
Oh,
interesting
figuring out
part
where
of
4
this game
goes.
is the ending and its overall meaning. Like I said in the other FNAF
Oh yeah, you
4
didn't
video,
talk too
if
much
this
about 4,
was just a
like for
random
the
kid
actual
got
game
bit,
content.
That would be really lame. So how does this particular kid fit into the overall lore?
Well, aren't
Why
there- there's
is
two
this
bites.
incident of
Why is it so
1983 so important to show? Who is the FNAF 4 kid, and what does the ending line of "I will put you back together" mean? Well, let me tell ya, the evidence points to him being the puppet. Let's look at the evidence.
What?
First, many have pointed
I thought we
out
already knew who the
streaming
puppet was.
tears down the kid's face, which mimic the tears
But we already
down
have a
the
kid
kid's
with tears.
mask. Okay, sure, that was
Okay.
good evidence when we first saw them in FNAF 2, but at this point, those nice pixelated
Same kid? What?
streams are on nearly every chubby-cheeked
I don't
kid who's ever entered these restaurants. So alone, it's not much to go on. But we can take it one step further. While the tears themselves might not be interesting, look at this. It's a screen from the Mangle minigame back in FNAF 3. This weird,
'Kay.
crying giant silhouette was just kinda out of place in the last game. And all us
Big
FNAF
tears.
theorists just kinda glossed over it in our analyses, since, seriously, what is it? I mean, it kinda looks like the puppet, right? With its overall fabric feel and
He's
its
got the
thin
long,
striped
stripy
I
legs.
mean, that's what I thought at the time, but again, there was really no reason to bring it up since it just didn't fit anywhere. But now we have a new game and new information that might make this make sense. Look at its body position. Notice anything
There are
specific
so many
about
games
it?
that come
It
after. I
resembles
know
the
that this
position
is
we
not
see
the
our
final
FNAF 4
theory.
kid in a lot throughout the game, including his final scene.
This is
He
the-
down, two streaming
how
tear
the
tracks,
theorizing
his face
went
turned
as each
two-thirds
game
towards the
came out.
camera. Do you see the connection here? But not only that, look at what our kid wears. A black and gray striped shirt. And remember, this is in a world where all the other kids are generally wearing single color outfits. It's an oddly specific detail. Now I ask you, what's the signature look for the puppet? None other than black and white stripes. But besides those design details, consider that there's no sign of the puppet anywhere in this game, and yet practically every other animatronic is present in some form, meaning that this game likely
Oh.
exists at a time when the
Before the
has
puppet.
yet to be created. Remember when he just kind of showed up in FNAF 2,
So that's all from
which
Squid
I
Game.
should remind you takes place 4 years later than this game. He just kind of came out of nowhere. Well, this could be the puppet's origin story. This idea of kid as puppet also works really well with the locked box at the end. What's in there besides Markiplier's stunning face and buttery voice? A puppet. As we see in FNAF 2, he has a habit of coming out of boxes, and he's the only one who can bend and
puppet's
fold
in the
up into a
box?
space that
The puppet's in the
small. But
box?
there's even more evidence when you look at the timeline. Now, I challenge you to ask yourself,
He didn't want to dwell on the
what
timeline.
exactly
So the
is
fourth
the
game is
child
somewhere
afraid of
around
in
the
this
first
game? Why
diner
does
and
he
first
hate
location.
this restaurant so much? The easy answer would seem to be the animatronics, but that'd be wrong. It's important to note that at the time of the cutscene minigames, he's not scared of.
Even I don't think the shirt is enough evidence
When
to
you
point to
walk
him
over
being
the
the
pile of
puppet.
Plushies in the corner, we see that he considers these characters as
Why
his
does the fox not have a head on?
Foxy is kinda in that camp too, but to a slightly lesser degree because his brother has started scaring him with the Foxy mask, hence the head being pulled off. Even the
Oh.
weird psychic friend
I ask a
Freddy
question,
is
he
a
answers
scary
it.
presence for him. So clearly he's not scared of the characters. Is he scared of the people working at the restaurant?
Dude, this is all the information we had. This is what's
Maybe,
interesting
but
about
that's
watching
not
in
quite the
order.
full answer either.
'Cause we didn't have the
Watch
other
how he
games yet.
behaves. When trying to escape the worker in the Fredbear outfit, he can't
Forgot they
muster
show
the
that
courage
worker.
to run past the show stage with the yellow
Me
suit.
neither. I was just
He
afraid of people in
collapses
suits, and I think that's very valid.
And when the bullies drag him over to the stage, he's freaking out. Clearly, what he is specifically afraid of in this restaurant is the yellow
Who
spring-trap suit,
bullies
whether
put him in the mouth
animatronic mode or
of an
suit
animatronic.
mode, which begs one question: why? Well, the
Suit
answer
mode
lies
and
in
animatronic
psychic
mode.
friend Fredbear. Look at the dialogue running
Psychic?
through the kid's head.
He's
Hurry
psychic?
the other way and find someone who will help. You know what happens if he catches you. That line would be easy to write off as this just being a scared kid who believes the ghost stories he's heard from the dead-eyed girl he talks to on the way home. She's creepy. If it wasn't for one thing, this other line. No.
All the lore is
Remember
in the
what
little
you saw.
mini games.
This kid actually saw something, a crime, something terrible in these restaurants. It would seem to imply that he saw another child get shoved into one of these suits. This would also explain the strange brown pixels sticking out of the yellow body backstage. A tuft of hair.
It's
All
hair!
of these details also fit with the character I've been lovingly calling Psychic Friend Fredbear. He's here,
He's looking
there,
at you,
he's
too. He's got little
everywhere.
eyeballs.
Who you gonna
He's
call?
looking
Psychic
everywhere.
Friend Fredbear. I mean, seriously, what is this thing? Sometimes he's a bear, sometimes he's referencing it, and sometimes he's a flower? Okay. At first, it seemed like the creepy little toy was nothing
You
but
should
an
just watch the
imaginary
full
friend
timeline.
that
No way,
was
that's no
in
fun.
still
That would not
the
take up a whole day of
moments
streaming
after
at
the
all.
fight when we see the bear's signature yellow text. But this time, instead of
I'll probably
parroting
watch
back
it in
his feelings
addition,
like he
but
usually does, he
this
shows
was the
that
whole
he is
goal of my
clearly
stream,
in
was to watch
possession
these
of a mind
videos.
of his own, saying all kinds of creepy things like, "You're broken. We're still your friends. Don't you believe that? And I'm still here. I will put you back together." This isn't just a split personality of the kid or anything. This is a separate entity.
Oh, I
This
do remember
is a
playing these
spirit.
little mini
This
games
is
with him in the
someone
corner
who
all the
knows
time.
the danger of getting caught by the people wearing those suits. This is the victim that our FNAF 4 kids saw getting stuffed. This is Golden Freddy. Purple Guy's
OG
first
Golden Freddy.
victim. And I know you're rushing into the comments now to say that this changes a lot of things and goes against stuff we've been saying for a while. But don't worry, we'll address it. Just get excited. We've pinpointed the identities of our two most mysterious animatronics.
I wouldn't
This is
say
an awesome
pinpointed.
revelation from an evidence
He
standpoint,
thought that the
but to be
third game was the
honest,
last
a
game.
little disappointing from a storytelling standpoint. Here's why.
Maybe you're
We
wrong.
humans all have a proven psychological need to complete things. This need is called, unimaginatively, the completion principle. We want to
Ooh.
fill in the blanks in the stuff around us
Science
so that
stuff.
the world makes sense and we feel in control. It's the biggest psychological reason why you want to beat a game, or even just an individual level. You know how you just can't stop and save in the middle of a level? You have to play until it's done.
I want to skip.
No. 5 nights. No. Won't.
Let's skip this one too.
Today,
Game Theory FNAF, the clue that solves 5 Nights at Freddy's. Ooh, let's see what this was. Let's see what this
end the
clue was.
horror. Today, we solve FNAF.
Doubt it. I doubt it.
After months of intensive
He's never gonna
therapy,
solve
I'm
it.
back to finally put the original FNAF tetralogy to rest. It's done. No more Halloween
I denied the
updates,
completion
no more
principle.
FNAF 5 rumors, and no more fan. Suck on that, you multi-bladed propeller of air. So shortly after my last Freddy theory, I arranged a live stream with some fellow FNAFers to close the book on the series.
It
And
isn't
what
even
happened
over.
was something that none of us expected.
We have it. We're back.
No, not the stream.
He's being
issues.
haunted.
Scott
He got haunted.
started talking to us. Well, kinda. He kept updating his site, scottgames.com, with cryptic
Well, that's
messages
cool.
as to the true
I
meaning of the
didn't
game.
know about
what
this.
is seen in shadows is easily misunderstood in the mind of a child. In the FNAF 4 minigame, why would the tiny toy Chica be missing her beak? And finally, 4
Yeah.
games, 1 story. It was incredible! After a year of taking shots in the dark, finally we were, in a way, hearing back from the man who knew all the answers. Scott Cawthon, the creator, was reaching out from the shadows to give us, for pretty much the first time ever, concrete leads as to where to look. But what did these cryptic
My need
clues
for
mean?
independence is
In the
greater
moment,
than
the
my
best I
need
could
for
do was
completion.
this.
Is it possible that FNAF 2 didn't actually happen?
But in the days that followed, those 3 clues led theorists on
FNAF
Reddit,
2.
Steam, and YouTube to completely throw out everything that they knew about the franchise. What if we were looking at the franchise all wrong?
I think
Instead
you
of
were.
counting animatronic toes, calculating minimum wage rates, and tracking Purple Guy's work history, maybe we needed to take a step back. What if everything in FNAF was just a dream?
I want real lore. Oh, and this is the 2-hour stream. We're also not gonna watch that. Here we go. Sister location. This is what we just played yesterday. That was the best episode. It's important. I mean, okay, it's not that long. We'll go back and we'll watch this one next. I won't watch the 2-hour. It's all just a dream. Where did he say that at?
Everything we play through in these games was created in the mind of the FNAF 4's crying child.
Everything.
It sounds like a cop-out, right? Like a lazy storytelling cliche. Maybe. But stay with me.
We
Even if you
want
think you've
real
heard parts
lore.
of this theory
I don't
before,
buy that all of
stick
it's a
around.
dream.
I've unearthed the clues that
My
finally
pizza's
put
almost
our year
here.
and a half of
My
FNAF
pizza's almost
speculating to rest. Of the 3 clues Scott gave us that day, the most damning one was the last one. Why would Tiny Toy Chica be missing her beek? What? In the
That is a
FNAF
really
4
specific
minigame, you
detail.
can
I also
talk to a
like that he
small
was
girl on the
communicating
playground with
over
toy
his website
versions
with little
of Bonnie,
clues.
Freddy, and Chica,
I just like
but
knowing
her
that
beak is
happened.
missing. During the stream, we were all like, Scott, please toys. But when we looked, sure enough, there it was. A few orange pixels laying on the ground.
Oh, her
What?
beak.
Seriously? This was the crucial detail all of us had missed. And yet,
Was it
for as
crucial?
absurd as it may sound, those 5 pixels changed everything, upending a year worth of theorizing. Because that missing beak directly parallels FNAF 2's new version of Chica, who loses her beak when she goes on the attack. It was
don't
something
like
we
that.
all had written off as a graphical glitch or a design choice, not as a clue to the meaning of the
Who would
entire
want it to not
series.
have a beak?
And yet,
How would
here
you
it
design
was
it this
from
way?
the creator's mouth. And that is when it started to click. FNAF 2's shiny new animatronics. What are they called? Toy animatronics. And that's not just a cute name the community came up with, like Freddles. It's right there in the custom night menu. It's canon. That's a
They're
strange
toys.
name for a bunch of robots,
Oh.
right? Unless it's meant to be taken literally, and then they're
They're
all just a
toys.
bunch of oh my god. What if they are toys?
Isn't that the theory
and
for
this
Super
is
Smash
all just a
Brothers?
dream scenario inspired
Is that
by
it's
these
just
little guys. Well, let's keep going with this.
scenarios made up in a
I mean,
kid's mind
obviously,
playing
the
with his
toy
toys
animatronics
of
are
the different
shiny,
characters fighting each other?
plastic-looking fake,
Was
just
that a
like
game
small
theory that I
plastic
watched?
action figure would be. But it explains a bigger question about FNAF 2, the look and design of Mangle. I mean, seriously, the story we're
I
told to
don't
believe in
like
this
Mangle.
game is pretty absurd. That kids just rip it apart and put it back together again, and so the employees just leave it as a mangled collection of parts for small
Why would you let kids take it
children
apart?
to play with.
Why would you
What
let that happen?
parents would ever be comfortable letting little Timmy touch that thing? Oh, and here's
That's
a
what the big
cute thing
hands
for you
are
to
in
play
Super
with.
Smash the bosses.
Oh my gosh, who could have seen that
Them
coming?
big
But if we
hands.
assume FNAF 2 is in the mind of a child who has seen all these toys, Mangle makes a whole lot more sense. He's just a dismantled toy. Think about Sid from Toy Story, who fuses various toys together to create hideous abominations. This explains Mangle's
pizza's
2
gonna be
heads.
dropped off
I don't
any
care
second.
how much you redesign Foxy, no one planned him to have 2 heads. In fact, note that Mangle appears in a girl's room. An insignificant detail? I don't think so. The
Well,
Chica
that's
Beak
quite an
shows that this
assumption because the bed is
girl's
pink.
toys fall apart, just like Mangle.
It's definitely a
the
little
tear
girl's
apart,
room.
put
Whoa.
back
Oh,
together
no.
toy.
I don't like
And
that
toys
child.
explain FNAF 1, too. The crying child of FNAF 4 has 4 plushies in his room. The crew from FNAF 1. Plushies, as in soft, stuffed animals. What are the original 4 animatronics made out of? Soft materials. Fur and fabric, not plastic like the toys.
I don't know
so much so
about
that the one thing that we
this.
hear about them throughout the series is that these old animatronics collect odors and never get washed, just like an
My pizza's outside. Now the pizza party begins. Is my cat here? Oh my goodness. You aren't going to be able to see her on my bed anymore. Wait, why do I feel like the camera's way higher up than it was before? Because it is. Why are you... First of all, that's her little head popping out of her little... That's her teeny little head. She tucked herself in. Okay. I'm gonna get my pizza. Oh, it's dark over here now. Some packages too, which means my little tea light for my potion bottles are probably in here. Let's see. Where did I put my scissors though? Alright. Small intermission. I wanna see if it's so cute. She's being a little cutie back there. Man, those lines are gonna bother me. I think I just need maybe better camera. Will that fix it? Or is that just gonna happen forever? Oh. I need to do daytime streams because nighttime lighting just isn't my favorite anyway. But I do mostly stream in the day if I can help it. That's glue that I bought. And this, I think, will be... Yes, I got little tea lights with batteries. And then I'm gonna eat my pizza and we're gonna watch these theories. Ow, what? Ow. It's not gonna do much, but it's gonna do something. That's trash. I also have to like pry this potion bottle open because hey, go back to sleep. Go back to bed. I don't know how to get it open, and I didn't think to do it before. Is your shutter twice your... This is a webcam. I don't know what... I don't know, my dude. Oh? See, this opens, and then I have to, like, pry this. But it's stuck? Seemingly? But I think if I can pry it open enough, I'll either break it, but it'll work. Or I can just try to shove the tea light through the gap I can manage. Is it supposed to open? Yeah, it is. Because it has little hinges. It's got a little door. I got it this much open. Oh! Haha! See, it is meant to open. It just really wanted to be difficult about it. Oh no, is it not gonna fit? I wanted to put it in like here. Oh, it fits. I thought that would look a little cute. I had to buy about 24 of these little tea lights just to get the one I needed for this. But he's gonna go right there. And it's not much. But I just thought it'd be neat. Yeah, I need more light. I need more light in my background in general still. But I like it. It's cool. Where's my pizza? All right. I'm a fan. It's still cute. How are you going to turn the tea light off? I'm going to let it die. I can get back in there. Now that I've opened it once, I think it won't be so hard. Or I let it die and I don't deal with it until I need to use another one of these. I leave it on forever, maybe. Perhaps. Who knows? What kind of pizza did I get? I got two little ones. I got like a mushroom one and I got a barbecue chicken one. So we are going to watch the rest of it. I kind of want to skip the dream theory. Somebody said that the dream theory was canon, but then the guy changed his mind. I kind of want to just jump to the next game that he made a theory on. I think I want to skip to sister location. Because we just played this one.
Let's solve the secrets
half a
of
year
fnaf
later.
sister location months.
So this is the
game
fifth
comes out.
canon. Fifth. Ah! So loud! This is the fifth game. And we just played...
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game
We just played all of it
Theory.
yesterday.
The goal is to
Why is
solve
this
the
video
big
so much louder than the
mystery of
others?
2016 before it even exists. For once, I'm gonna get the jump.
Oh, it doesn't
on
exist
you,
yet?
Scott Cawthon.
The game isn't out yet!
Do it. We'll know that
Oh no, my
Scott loves
sign!
dropping little
It's out of frame
teasers on
again.
his sites, but
Wait.
This time, he's tipped his hand a bit too far. And
Oh, it's only when I go tiny screen. I'll fix that another time. I know how to do it.
enough for me to get a solid theory going on a
Wait.
lot of key elements we'll see hidden throughout his newest installment, Sister Location. And while some clues come from the teaser images and trailers themselves, the biggest revelations this time have come from the source code on Scott's website. So get ready for a
Oh, in the
comprehensive preview of what
code?
Scotty has in store, because by the end we'll have looked at every, and I mean every element of this franchise, from the original
Should we skip to the
series
actual
games, to the
theory?
novel,
To when the game actually came out. Because this is just the theory before the game even came out. Yeah, we'll skip to the actual game. There we go.
It gets dark, they
We're
will
skipping the filler.
children's
We're doing it.
spirits rise. They will kill you. They'll just walk out in the morning, stepping over your corpses one by one. You are intruders. None of you will survive the night. And what makes you think they won't kill you? Because I am one of them.
I want to know what his theory about these teeny dolls crawling inside you is.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory. Still available to consult on the FNAF movie storyline. Seriously, Scott, I'll be waiting by the phone because I can practically guarantee I've put more collective hours of thought into counting animatronic toes, tracking eye colors, listing out the differences between pizzerias, diners, and rental services, parsing out your phone guy calls, and counting and recounting again the number of dead child carcasses left in your story's wake than literally anyone else out there. I mean, I've even gone so far as to do the unthinkable for these sister location videos. That's right, I reread The Silver Eyes. In an ironic twist, it took longer than the actual game.
The what?
Now, here I am piecing together this script after, I kid you not, a weekend spent doing nothing but thinking about these games, writing and rewriting timeline after timeline to account for all the nonsensical Easter eggs shoved into this 4-hour experience. And you know the conclusion that I've
Pizza was a good idea. I hope you guys get pizza too.
Isn't satisfying. That any theory I come up with that
Rebel, thank you for subscribing.
And cobble together every line of dialogue, design detail, and character motivation will be overcomplicated at best and inherently flawed at worst. And that's not me admitting defeat. It's a fundamental problem with the series right now. This one just tried too hard to do too many things. You've got elements of the past 4 games mixed in with FNAF World, mixed in with the book, all of which at this point have
Oh, the book has happened now.
conflicting
He didn't talk about the book yet, though.
dates. Couple that with characters that mimic other characters, characters that lie to you, and characters that may not even exist.
Yeah, did Baby lie to us and get us killed?
The franchise, and it's unclear if this is a continuation of the book.
I actually was thinking about this.
Of the games, or just an
Pizza number 2.
reboot of some kind.
That she did lure us into that room where we got scooped.
Turn into at the end of Inside. A mass of limbs all struggling to work together to move in one direction, but all just flailing out.
She's responsible for us getting scooped.
With Scott saying that the original story was completed with FNAF 4, he could have just said.
Oh, he did call it final chapter himself. I forgot about that.
FNAF World to start paving the way for the movie. But then you couldn't help yourself, Scott. You just had to throw in those FNAF 4 Easter eggs, huh? And those put everything into chaos. And it's not just me feeling it. Based on what I'm reading online, a lot of FNAF theorists sense that the lore contained in Sister Location is a game changer, but then they don't exactly know why or what to do with it. Struggling under the weight of explaining away.
There wasn't much about Five Nights at Freddy's in it, because it's all new.
And exotic butters. What's an Easter egg? What's a
Except for the big
reference, and what
other
is
Freddy. I guess, I don't know.
added? So understandably, there's some confusion about what's actually going on in this game. And that is what I'm out to solve in these videos. Picking Sister Location apart to definitively
Rifkin!
which details matter and
We're watching
why
Five
this
Nights
is
at
such
Freddy
a monumental
theories.
game for the franchise's lore. So go ahead, keep your plots vague and convoluted, Scotty boy. I'm here to translate your madness to the world. First off, who are we playing as? Historically, the
And eating pizza and having a pizza party.
Varying degree of importance. There are those like Mike and Fritz who, for all we can tell, were just names with the sole purpose of
We got our
filling out
exotic
the
butters, at
two
least.
line on a paycheck. Sure, they may have been retconned into some importance now, but they were never really intended to be that way. Then there was the crying child of FNAF 4, hospitalized and trapped in a waking nightmare. Slightly more important, I would hazard to say. And the game recognizes this as, during your first encounter with the new animatronic baby, she calls out,
It's a strange thing to want to do, to come here.
I liked her voice so much!
What events would lead a person to want to spend their nights in a place like this?
I trusted you!
Maybe curiosity, maybe ignorance.
answering the question of who you
Definitely that one.
location is more important than any of the rest of the games in the franchise, since it practically dictates every other element of this story. Why you're there, what the endings mean, what this location stands for, how this fits into the overall timeline. It's a big deal. Now, personally, based on the silhouette,
All we wanted was our exotic butters. What was our name? Eggs Benedict.
Committing the most elaborate Rick roll in history. I mean, just look at that hair. It's an exact match. Let's face it, Scott has proven that he's not above trolling us. But assuming he has a little bit more respect for the fan base than that, there can only be one possible conclusion here. In Sister Location,
Everybody hydrate!
as William Afton, purple guy himself. And no, I'm not just saying that because the eyes in the ending are purple, like literally everyone else on the internet's been saying. Sure, it's a nice
Purple
detail
guy who
that
is, at this
shows
point, we think
Scott's
maybe
intention,
phone guy,
but
but
it's
we
not
don't know for sure
proof.
still.
For proof, we begin by turning to the in-game dialogue. On your quest to unlock the game's fake ending,
Jacko Rackbrington for hug.
with these little bits of
And
dialogue,
Tasha Grenade,
by
thank you
a
for
young girl
subscribing.
In a British-sounding accent.
I'm still here. Isn't this why you came here? To be with her again?
So we know that whoever the player is has some sort of connection to this mysterious young girl. But who is she? Well, throughout the game, between nights, we hear the same girl pressing her father to let her play with Baby, saying things like,
Daddy just once let
I
me
thought it was a
play
boy.
with her. She's so pretty.
The whole
and
time I thought it was a
charming.
boy, not a little girl.
Didn't you make her just for me?
From that
It makes
small
so much more
snippet, we
sense.
can not only tell that our character is her father, but that he's also in some way the creator, or has some level of control over the animatronics. This in turn narrows the field down
Interesting.
by quite a bit to two men, William Afton and Henry, no last name given, the two co-founders of Fazbear Entertainment as introduced in FNAF Silver Eyes. By the way,
Okay, that's from the
Scott,
book.
forcing people to read in order to have any sort of clue as to what's going on in the franchise now? Because seriously, without reading the book, you would have no clue the importance of William Afton. Oh well, that's what I'm here for. I read it so you don't have to. Kind of like the nostalgia critic. Anyway, based on the girl's accent and William Afton's similar dialect at the beginning of the game,
She can dance. She can sing. She's equipped with a built-in helium tank for inflating balloons right at her fingertips.
it would seem as though we have ourselves a match.
Has both British.
Let's not be too hasty there, Maury. We can be even more sure. In the game's real ending, you get yourself
Cotton Candy, thank you for the
becoming
prime.
animatronic fodder as the machines scoop out your internal organs and replace them with endoskeleton cords. Now, this really bothered me since it's like the antithesis of what we expect from our stories when we beat the game. Here I am wanting to
That's
finish
the
my
bit
night
of blood
and
you
return
get.
home to my basket of exotic butter, but
Woo!
no, that's reserved for the fake ending. Becoming a flesh suit is somehow canon to the series. I wanted to write it off as jumping the shark, like, hey, we're getting a little
got
bit
scooped.
too absurd right now, but then I realized that this is a franchise built on haunted animatronics chasing you through a pizza restaurant after they've been killed by a serial killer hiding in a mascot suit filled with killer springs. So, crossing the line of absurdity? Yeah, I think we're long past it at this point. Becoming a flesh suit is an oddly specific event to be integral to the lore, and yet there it is. So we're left with two options. Scott's either completely lost it at this point, or he has some other plans for this character. And indeed, he does.
Both.
As the novel once again shows us why this odd story turn is so important. In its pages, we're treated to all sorts of lines that make
I
it
got a little
clear Mr.
cauliflower
Afton
crest
is the
one, and I
who
really
gets
like that one a lot
himself
more.
stuffed. Page 407. Quote, Charlie, there's something different
Exotic
about it.
butter,
It
exotic
was as
butter,
if
exotic butter.
guard, the man they had met had been stripped away, and what sat before them was nothing but a blank canvas.
I do videos of me playing Five Nights at Freddy's on YouTube. They're very old.
Sorry, Dave is the fake name for William Afton in the novel. He's hiding out in another identity. Long story. Anyway, just go with it. Dave's body moved upward.
I need to read this book,
straightening, but
maybe.
The movement was too smooth. He seemed to make no effort, use no muscles, and exert no energy. Dave's eyes opened steadily, glassy, and without emotion, like the robots on the stage
Animatronic.
outside. End quote. And there you have it. That totally just spelled it out for us, didn't it? Like the robots on the stage outside. In fact, the book makes a huge deal about Afton's eyes over and over again, like when the character John describes seeing Afton kidnap his friends on pages 120 to 122. Quote, the eyes. They were all I could see. They were dead, just dull and flat. Like they still moved and blinked and saw, but whatever was behind them had died a long time ago. End quote. Died a long time ago, you say? Like perhaps in an underground murder bunker, doubling as a robotic distribution center, perhaps. Now, real quick, let's pause here and have some real talk to Ennard, Baby, and the gang. Guys, we're gonna have a bit of an intervention here. If your goal is to blend in with the outside world and look like us, look like any other human, choosing to go with the purple eyes is not gonna be helping your cause all that much. Artificial
5 seconds to Hector,
intelligence
thank you for
or
the
like
prime.
artificial idiots.
No
Doing
thoughts
the
said
whole
empty.
work, humans don't tend to have purple eyes. I mean, seriously, you have a blue-eyed animatronic just waiting to go. Look, there's Foxy. He has brown/orange eyes. Great.
I mean,
Anyway,
those are
digress.
yellow,
Who am I to
I'd
judge?
say.
Maybe we're all just left to assume that Afton walks around in those cool colored contacts. Anyway, it's not just the eyes that give
Some
away
people do.
Afton as the animatronic's meat puppet. His overall physicality has undergone a drastic change over the years as well.
You know what's not fair is that animals get to have cooler eye colors than we do.
Robust and lively, a hefty man who had the ruddy geniality of a
Why do they get so many more
shrewd
options?
Santa Claus.
Why can't we?
Shrewd Santa Claus, huh? No one said the writing of this book was any good. There's clearly a reason why only 500 people made it all the way through this book. And I say that because on Amazon Kindle, they actually show you the most popular highlighted sections, and like, they all drop off by midway through the book, so I can only assume that I'm the only person who made it all the way through. The things I do for you. Anyway, soon after, our financially shrewd Santa Claus is accused of
Maybe I won't be
murder,
reading the book.
released due to no bodies being found, and then he skips town. However, when he comes back, he's a changed person. Quote, Afton had been fat and affable. The man in the picture was sallow and thin, his skin sagging and his expression unpleasant, as if he had forgotten how to smile. He looked like a poor facsimile of himself. End quote.
Oh,
so when he comes back to town, he's not only lost a ton of weight, but he looks like a poor copy of himself? So that's us reading the subtext of these lines, but you don't even have to read between those lines. Afton tells us directly in the quote I used at the top of this episode. Quote, and what makes you think they won't kill you? John said again. Because I'm one of them, he said. I mean, let's face it is hard to argue with that one. He is outright saying he is an animatronic. Reading the book the first time, you all assume it's like, oh, he has a kindred spirit with these animatronics because he loves them so much and he dresses as one and this and that. But oh no, after playing Sister Location, it takes on a whole new meaning. Now, there are two major complaints against the Afton theory.
Eddie Zane, thank you
One,
for the
that
prime.
Baby's first lines are,
I don't recognize you. You are new.
and two, that none of it makes sense if Afton bleeds out in Springtrap in FNAF 3. But there's an easy answer for both of these situations. First, think back to the FNAF world ending, where Desk Guy, who
When did that game happen?
established as Henry No Last Name Given, William Afton's partner,
Whoop.
and Freddy Fazbear's
I skipped
franchise,
too much.
confesses to building Baby. He's the creator.
We're gonna watch the full thing at the end. I just really wanted to go through these.
Afton. So Baby not recognizing
Really
Afton
graphic
is
novel.
not that much of a stretch. And regarding Purple Guy's death, we see in the book that William is covered in scars. Scars left over from surviving one major round of Springtrap failures. Quote, Dave had been shirtless under the costume and now his bare chest was clearly visible. His skin was horribly scarred, with raised white lines that
Oh, we don't talk about it.
in a symmetrical pattern, each side of his
Cool.
body mirroring the other. He raised his arms and turned slowly in a circle, giving Carlton ample time to see that the scars were everywhere. Also note that we never actually see Springtrap die in FNAF 3, just collapse into his own pool of blood and shiver there. The light never drains from his eyes. And Silver Eyes shows that it's not only possible, but that William has indeed survived a Springlock failure in the past. So could the FNAF 3 incident be the reason he has all those scars in the book? Absolutely. Also, according to the timelines, the events line
That
up.
makes sense.
All of the events of Silver Eyes take place in 1995, placing it long after any events that we've seen in the games thus far, with the exception of Fazbear's Fright, which may have been a hallucinogenic dream sequence anyway. So all in all, cool story, bro. We play as Purple Guy in Sister Location.
Thank you for selecting Casual Bongos.
But why?
I never got casual bongos. Wait, did I? What did I get?
Actually explains a lot, but from here it also tends to get really complicated, because now we're dipping into the FNAF 4
Oh, I did.
footage, FNAF 4 locations being tied to Sister Location,
Everyone gets the
child
same thing.
experimentation, and the identities of Baby and Ennard. So instead of rushing my way through it to get it all done in time, I'm gonna pause right here and hold all those explanations for the next episode. Now that we know who is playing the game, we need to know why and how it affects the rest of the series as we know it. So click that basket of exotic butter to subscribe and be informed of when the next
Wait,
half
we
of this
know
series
who's
comes
playing
out.
the game
And in
now?
the meantime, listen to these casual bongos. And
Who
do
is
me a
it?
favor and vote. Sister Location. Yay.
Is it that guy he
Was
said?
this the
Whoop. 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 Drifted Apollo, thank you for gifting 5 subs. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And then why doesn't Baby recognize him? William Afton. Okay, the guy that got stuck in the Springtrap thing. So why doesn't Baby recognize him at the beginning of the game? He's like, I don't know you. All right. We're going to get to it. We're going to get to it.
Isn't this why you came here? To be with her again?
Oh, because of the lost weight and stuff? I don't know. We're going to find out.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, 7 million theorists strong.
Woo! Manders, thank you for the
A lot
100
of
bits.
that is
Purple
thanks to
Neverland,
this
thank you for the 100
franchise.
bits.
More often than not, when I talk to people about their favorite episodes of this series, it's these. Young, old, it doesn't matter. The FNAF series was their first introduction, so I always feel a lot of pressure on these videos to deliver in a big way. You know, looking back, they're some of my personal favorites. Not only am I proud of the final products, but I'm proud of what they represent, as the FNAF series has been a true team effort, branching out across every person who
How many
has
more
ever
games came
touched
out
this channel,
after
spanning every
Sister
editor who's
Location?
ever worked on an episode of Game Theory. getting you loyal theorists involved with pitching theories, and
obviously
covering
security
every
breach
style of theory that I personally write, from more IRL episodes to more lore-based ones. We've used
3 more
everything
after
from
Sister
books to
Location?
spin-off titles, real-world math and science to
Should I
source
play?
code
I'm not doing the
analysis,
VR
teaser
one.
images, trailer hints, and even U.S. trademark data. Looking across this
Should I
series,
play
it's
some
incredible
other
the
ones?
breadth that we've gone to. And to think, I almost never covered this series
worth
to
it?
begin with. It was going to be Slender, but then you guys, you
Simulator,
loyal
I won't play the
encouraged me to
VR
look
one.
into it. All based
That's
on
for
a simple
sure.
Twitter poll. You guys made it happen, and the rest is history. Funny how life
Pizzeria
goes
Simulator?
sometimes.
Should I
Anyway,
play
like
that
I
one?
said, I feel a lot of responsibility with these episodes, but I think today is my favorite of the whole series, because now we finally have all the pieces necessary to tell a coherent plot. It's not just some corpse kids and silent puppets and mauve murderers who don't say anything. We have personalities now, actual
VHS
character,
tapes?
and most importantly of all,
I'll just watch the theories about him.
motivations for why a serial killer would create a place like Sister Location. And believe it or not, the answer is actually quite sad. So the question of the day is, can a game make you feel sympathy for a child murderer? Because once you have the complete story, you might just see Purple Guy in a whole new light.
What?
One line across this
Is this
entire
actually the
franchise
complete story,
answers
though?
Everything.
Do we think we just go for the complete story now? These have been really fun to watch, and I kind of like that we've made it to the game that we actually played yesterday. Do we get the rest of it all wrapped up neatly in the final video? Because I'm not going to be live for too much longer, because we're not going to be watching all of these, and we're only on... Which number are we even on out of this playlist? 13 out of 53. I was never going to be watching all of them. And if I'm going to be wrapping up stream at about like 3-ish hours, or I'll watch the full... How long is it? What's the complete lore timeline video called? Needs a 24-hour stream. 40 minutes. Yeah, we'll watch it. What's it called? 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 Foot of a Ferret? Everything you need to know? Is that caught up with the games, other than maybe Security Breach? Featuring Matt Pat. This one? Okay, it's only 30 minutes. That's perfect. And that was from 8 months ago. I think that's exactly what we need to wrap up this stream of watching Five Nights at Freddy's theory videos. All right. This gets rid of all of the theories that were made up along the way because we didn't have the full pieces to the puzzle yet. Miss Akia bringing in for a hug. And this will get all the other missing bits from the books and the games that we didn't play, because I only played all the way up to... I guess I played all of them up to Sister Location. I didn't play any of them after that, which I'm impressed by. I didn't realize I played that many of them at all.
Ryder, do you know why I called you here?
No, Matt Pat of the YouTube channels Game Theory, Film Theory, Food Theory, and GT Live. I do not
Food
know why
theory.
you called me here.
Well, maybe this will jog your memory.
Aw, look at this cute little plushie of a rusty metal animatronic haunted by the soul of a child whose head was bitten by a robot in 1987. Happy birthday, Tommy. Nice.
Now what do you have to say for yourself?
Nice.
My videos are funny.
Mr. of a Ferret, this is without a doubt one of the most shameful displays of Five Nights at Freddy's lore dumping I have ever seen. It's actually amazing how almost every single thing you said was wrong. I thought we had taught you better back on the Theorist channels. You even worked on multiple FNAF videos during your time working with us, but clearly you were too busy frolicking around making videos about Bubsy and King's Quest to pay any sort of attention.
Dude, I was just the history guy and the editor. I wasn't doing any of the lore research.
I want the
Back then,
lore!
you still thought Purple
The image you chose depicts
Wait.
proper
Guy and the
Still thought Purple Guy, what?
pay any sort of attention.
Dude, I was just the history guy and the editor. I wasn't doing any of the lore research. Back then, you still thought Purple Guy was the phone guy.
Oh! it's
Whatever,
not.
I get it. Can I go now?
Ooh, plot
No,
twist.
Not until you learn the proper FNAF lore, sir. Now, if you'll see here on this 92 slide
Phone guy and
PowerPoint
purple guy, two different
presentation that
guys.
I've made on exactly this subject.
Finally
First off,
confirmed.
this is not
All the way up to
bite
sister
of
location. We
87.
didn't know that.
Rather, the image you chose depicts the bite of 1983, and the child in question is actually the crying child, aka the younger brother of Michael Afton. Now, Michael Afton is very important.
Help
you play
me.
as him.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to
I will play
my
security
channel.
breach when it's
Photo
fixed.
Ferret, where, yes, a few months back, I made a video about FNAF where I got a lot of the lore wrong. And yeah, I knew it was all sorts of wrong. It was a quick throwaway gag, and I wasn't about to do hours and hours of research and fact-checking just to get to the punchline. Nice. But even so, I want to make things up to any of the FNAF lore buffs whose heads may have exploded at the amount of
Everyone
inaccuracies I
during
managed
this
to
stream.
squeeze into 15
The entire
seconds.
time.
So I decided to call in some help from the resident FNAF expert of the whole internet, Matt Pat from Game Theory.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to...
Yeah, I already did that bit.
Oh, well, anyway, Five Nights at Freddy's is a long series spanning
We could
more
play it
games,
before it's
books, and
fixed.
mysteries than you can shake a stick at. So our goal is to present you guys a complete recap of the entire core FNAF storyline.
Yes!
Or at least as much as we can without delving into too many unconfirmed theories or things that could suddenly be totally rewritten by a new book, or
Yes!
new game, or new movie, or decorative birthday party napkin with hidden text that only appears after you wipe your mouth 5 times. And FNAF is
That's not real,
infamously
right? They didn't
frustrating
really
when it
do
comes
that.
to deciphering its lore, but I think once you boil it all down, the story might not be as complicated as you think. It's weird, don't get me wrong, but we're not talking about Kingdom Hearts here.
But first, I gotta say, if you like this video and you want to see more, be sure to hit the big red subscribe button right below this video.
Imagine if that was a
and
thing.
ring the
Can
little
you even
gray
do
bell
that?
next to it. That makes sure you get
It reveals
notified
hidden text
every
when it
time
gets
I
wet.
upload in the future. It's a big help for my channel, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, there's plenty of really cool Photo of Ferret merch for sale at the link in the description or in this little banner right below this video. But yeah, enough of that.
There's
So,
lore in
get
a children's
comfortable. We're gonna
activity
be here
book?
for a while. This is
About this?
Is everything you need
They
to
put it
know
everywhere.
about Five Nights at
I wouldn't be
Freddy's.
surprised if
Right,
they put it
it's
on
the
a napkin.
70s. Ain't this just a time? Well, it certainly was for these two guys named William Afton and Henry Emily. These guys are a couple of inventors
'Kay.
specializing in building robots and animatronics. They're also family men. William has a wife, a daughter, and 2 sons, while Henry has a daughter named Charlotte. So we got 2 groovy 70s dudes
Groovy.
building robots to support their families. But there's just one little snag. William Afton is a crazy person. I'm not really sure why, but
He's the one that got
William
stuck in
Afton
the
has
spring
this
trap.
insatiable desire to kill children, but I'm sure that won't be a problem anytime soon. So instead, let's focus on this new restaurant in town that just opened, Fredbear's Family Diner, a small, locally owned family restaurant that commissions William and Henry
I love that
to
it's a
create
Gravity
some
Falls
fun
screenshot.
Chuck E. Cheese-style animatronic mascots to entertain the kids. There's a golden bear named
Nope.
Fredbear and a golden rabbit named Bonnie. Now, these are what are called spring lock animatronics, meaning they operate using, well, spring lock mechanisms, which are extremely dangerous. Boy, it sure is a good thing these are just robots and not mascot costumes or something. Hey, guess what? These are also mascot costumes meant to be worn by the employees of the restaurant. Yeah, come work at Fredbear's Diner. Sing
Yes.
songs,
We had these on for the other
entertain
videos.
Families. Try not to breathe too much inside of the Springlock animatronic suits because even the slightest bit of moisture will cause the Springlock mechanisms to malfunction and clamp down on you, killing you outright. Cook pizza.
So despite this gigantic safety hazard, Fredbear's becomes a pretty popular spot for birthday parties, attracting some real good business. But
This is the original
things start
diner.
going downhill real fast. So one night, Fredbear's is hosting a birthday party, and one of the kids attending is Henry Emily's daughter, Charlotte. But during the party, Charlotte accidentally gets locked outside in this dark alley behind the restaurant. Suddenly, a mysterious
Is
purple
she
car
the
drives up
crying
and out steps
child?
William Afton, who kills Charlotte outside of Fredbear's Diner and gets away scot-free. William Afton, also known in the FNAF series as the Purple Guy, has
What?
claimed his first victim. Henry Emily has lost his daughter, leading him to just kinda disappear for a while. And Fredbear's has its first of many deaths tied to its name. Besides being a horrible, sad, terrible tragedy, it's also a
How are people
PR
saying
nightmare.
no? And this is
the
the
owners of
final
Fredbear's were just like,
summary.
"Nope, we're out," and
How-
they bailed.
what has
took
happened
the money
since
and
then?
ran, sold off the
How do we
Fredbear
know no?
franchise to new owners who pulled the flip job of the century to create Fazbear Entertainment. Not only did they get Fredbear's back on its feet, but by 1983 they've turned the franchise into a bit of a multimedia empire with a TV show.
Why would they say
action
that in this
figures,
video?
plushies, and most importantly of all, a new sister location for Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. See, this newly revamped Fazbear franchise introduced a slew of new characters to the lineup. The TV show was named
Did a game come out
Fredbear
since
and
they made this
Friends,
video?
after all.
So they're
They
even
added
still
a
wrong
chicken
in
named
this
Chica,
one?
a pirate fox named Foxy, and a non-golden bunny and bear named Bonnie, and of course, Freddy Fazbear. Y'all know these guys, right? Remember back in 2014
We know
when
these
FNAF
guys.
was just these guys? Feels like decades. But yeah, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy become the faces of the new hit restaurant, Freddy Fazbear's
They didn't
Pizza.
say she's the
And
crime.
things seem to
Oh,
be
then
back
let
on
me
the up
let me
and up
watch
for
the video. I'm not
Fazbear
looking at you guys
Entertainment.
anymore.
But
Then
the
if it's gonna happen in this video, don't answer.
Somebody's about to die.
While Freddy's is up and running,
I thought he was
Fred
just saying that
Fazbear's
it
gotten
is,
back to
but
business
if I
as
just have to
usual.
watch the
Things
rest
have
of
been
this
doing fine for
video.
itself since, you know,
Don't talk to me.
that one
You're
time
gonna
a kid
watch.
died. Enter William Afton's youngest son, the crying child.
That's
Why
the
is he
crying child.
Well, it's
So the
implied
crying.
that he has a pretty
Well, originally they
intense
called
fear of
the
animatronics
kid
his
that's
dad
killed
has.
first.
And his
I misspoke and called the kid that was killed outside of the restaurant first the crying child, but they aren't. But it is his daughter. Is correct. My bad. Why are there so many crying children? Maybe you should not be in the business of doing anything for children if they're all crying. Okay. So the first killed child is his daughter. That is what I meant. So I was right. Okay, I just called it the wrong
Brother
thing.
Michael
God forbid.
Afton really likes to torment the kid by dressing
So it
up
is a
as
girl!
Foxy to
I didn't
jump
know
scare
that. I thought it was
him.
a
The
boy.
kid really just can't catch a break, man.
So we had it right.
Clearly
We did have it
terrified
right.
of the animatronics, but is basically forced to be around them. Which leads us to one fateful day in 1983 where the crying child is celebrating
This
his
is the
birthday
crying child.
at
The
Fred
other
Bear's
one.
family diner.
The
He's
original
not
death
having a
is the
great
daughter.
time, and his older brother decides to be a little cruel to the kid. He and his friends all crowd around the crying
These are
child
the two
wearing
sons of the
character
other
masks,
guy.
lift him up and bring him to the main stage where Fredbear's performing. The crying child starts
Because father
well,
of dead daughter
crying and
went away.
freaking out. The other kids then do what dumb kids do and take things way too far, putting the crying child
You bet they
inside
do.
Fredbear's mouth. Matt, I know you're the numbers guy, but I'm gonna take this one. Let's do the math here. One Springlock animatronic suit with a very low tolerance for moisture, plus one horrified child crying rivers of tears equals...
Oh, it's because he cried in it?
Was that the bite of 87?
No 2015 Markiplier, that was what's known as the bite of 83.
Why are there
William
two
Afton's
bites?
youngest son is munched by a golden Freddy animatronic
Unbelievable.
and dies. Ooh, it's a birthday party. Can I say that? I don't know if I can say that. In the wake of this, Fazbear Entertainment decides the Springlock animatronic suits
Oh
are
man,
just
at
too
least we're
dangerous to
all
keep
caught up
using.
on who's who so far.
What gave you that idea? So our good friends Golden Freddy
There's two
and Golden
crying
Bonnie
kids.
are retired
One is
from
the daughter
Fredbear's
of the one
Diner
guy,
sent off
and
to
the other
new
is the son of
restaurant,
the other
Freddy
guy.
Fazbear's Pizza to be stored in their safe room. And then in walks
Two
William
bites.
Afton. Now, you'd think after William Afton lost one of his kids to an animatronic he created, he would take a step back, reevaluate himself and what he's doing, and
So did that
change
kid
his
die?
ways. But nah. If
He
anything,
said lost
the death
his
of his own
son.
kid was
It
a
did-
source
he
of
did die in this
inspiration.
one.
So
Okay.
William goes
So the
to
other
Freddy
bite,
Fazbear's
the kid
Pizza
didn't
and is
die.
just like, hey guys,
Which is
why don't we all
the
just
frontal lobe
not
bite.
go into the safe room? You know, the safe room housing
Cool.
the
Cool,
dangerous
cool.
child-killing
Cool, cool, cool,
animatronics
cool,
I
cool,
made.
cool.
Yeah. In fact, why don't we just forget the safe rooms even exist? You know, we don't need security cameras in there. No. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and
Got it,
reprogram all the
got it.
animatronics to not even recognize the safe room at all.
Fitzsimmons, thank you for subscribing.
Nothing suspicious going on here, and everyone just goes along.
Zeres,
with it.
also,
I'm sure
thank you
that
for
won't lead to anything
subscribing.
horrible.
So, a few years later, around 1985, something horrible happens. 5 kids mysteriously go missing at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and the animatronics start oozing and smelling real rank.
Right.
Turns out William
That's
Afton's
the
been lurking around the
first
pizzeria,
game.
using the decommissioned Spring Bonnie suit to lure kids into the safe room, kill them, and then hide their bodies inside the
Maybe?
animatronic suits. Okay.
Wait.
Why? Where's the logic here? I get that you're kind of messed up, Mr. Afton, but what on earth are you hoping to accomplish by stuffing your victims into animatronics that are around dozens of people every single day?
You guys don't have to
Naturally, this
confirm
sparks an
for me while
investigation that
I'm
eventually leads to Freddy
piecing it
Fazbear's
together
Pizza
just as we're
shutting
watching.
down.
I'm not
So let's take a
asking any
break from the
questions.
robot
I am
bunnies
just
and
saying it
talk
out
about something
loud
that's a little
as
less
he's
scary.
explaining it, but you don't have to
Clowns.
confirm nor
Yeah,
deny.
really. See,
Just
while
in case he's
William Afton
wrong.
was going around killing kids, he still found time to develop some animatronics here and there. And when he wasn't building terrifying robot animals, he was building terrifying robot people. All of them had this creepy circus theme, like this ballerina named Ballora, this balloon boy named
I forgot about Balloon Boy. We never talked about Balloon
this
Boy
little
much.
girl named Circus Baby. Afton also redesigned some of the old Fazbear crew to fit the circus vibes as well. All that, and he still finds time for his hobbies. How does he do it. These are the Funtime animatronics. Bright, shiny, happy. They seem harmless, right? Well, underneath the clown makeup were some
Not harmless. Not
interesting
harmless.
design choices. See, at this point, Afton
We
has
were
seen
lured
how
to our
effective
death.
his animatronics can be when it comes to helping commit his crimes. So he designed
Dude,
the
nobody
Funtime
likes
crew
Balloon
with
Boy.
some advanced
Me
features
and the homies
that,
hate Balloon
to
Boy.
be frank, pretty sus, as if they're specifically designed to lure and kill children. I wonder what will happen.
Now, the details get a little fuzzy here,
Oh,
especially
God.
in terms of the timeline, but from what I can
Oh,
tell,
Jesus.
the plan was to have these animatronics available to rent out for birthday parties and events, housing them in this crazy underground storage facility. In addition, some
Where
of
you
these
have to crawl
animatronics
through
were set
vents.
to become the face of yet another Fazbear sister location, Circus Baby's Pizza World, set to swoop in and fill
What?
the hole in the market left when Freddy Fazbear's Pizza shut down. But that plan kind of fell through due to an accident involving William Afton's daughter. Because
His daughter
when
now.
you make animatronics specifically designed
Who's the
to
one
lure
asking,
and
"I
kill
wanna play
kids
with
while
her."
Also having multiple kids of your own, those two things might just happen to overlap once. Or twice. So, right as Circus Baby's
Or
Pizza World
twice.
is set to
So he
open,
lost one kid,
Afton's
the
daughter gets
younger
just
son.
a little too close to Circus Baby and is attacked by
Oh,
a claw
yeah.
that was programmed to shoot out from her torso. This kills Afton's daughter and leads to Circus Baby's Pizza World closing for good.
So now
on
he's
its
lost two of his
opening
kids.
day.
The other guy
Funtime
lost
animatronics are then packed
his only
up
kid.
and sent back into storage, but they still move
For his
forward
daughter
with the
in
whole
the
rental
first
service thing, creating
incident.
Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental, meaning these guys are still ready and waiting to be rented out for your next birthday party.
But hey, guess what? It's 1987 now. That's a great year.
The bite of
I'm sure
87!
nothing could possibly
other
go
bite!
wrong in 1987.
This is the frontal lobe bite.
Damn it. Yeah, even with a handful of child murders under their belt, Fazbear Entertainment decided it was time to reboot their franchise after only 4 years, opening the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's Pizza that we see in FNAF 2. The restaurant is bigger, there's new animatronics, and there are all sorts of extra security measures put in place after what happened at the last place. For instance, there's the new toy animatronics, all based on a series of Fazbear action figures. Yes, they're shiny. Yes, they're somehow
You
cuter
bet they
and
are.
creepier at the same time, but most importantly, the toy animatronics are packing some super advanced for the 80s facial recognition technology, scanning for potential predators. However, that doesn't stop William Afton from going for round 2, using the same exact Spring Bonnie suit to lure and kill kids at the pizzeria. But this time, things are a little different. Afton commits his second series of murders, sparking yet another investigation of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, so the
next
restaurant
5
is just about to
kids?
close down, but first, they got one last birthday party to host, which is
Who would want that?
worrying because the animatronics are
Who
going
would stay
a
and be
bit
like, yeah, we'll
funky.
still have our
Now,
party. Can we get a
there's
discount?
one pretty big detail about the FNAF lore we've not mentioned yet, and it's
they're all
kind of
looking.
the whole point of the story.
We're all
There's
looking.
a pretty hard and fast rule in the FNAF world. If you are a kid killed by William Afton or any of his creations, your soul will undoubtedly go on to possess one of the animatronics. See, it all started with Charlotte, Afton's first victim. When
Right.
she was killed outside of Fredbear's family diner,
Which I
her
thought was a
soul
boy the
found
whole
a
time,
new
but
home
is
in the diner's security
probably
animatronic,
originally
this
was.
weird, creepy puppet, or at least
Which
that's
is what
how
we
it
thought
looks
was that
to be conveyed in the games.
Charlotte
Like
we
we've
thought
said,
was
the
the
series
puppet,
is
the
kind
kid
of
that was
frustratingly
crying
vague when it
outside.
comes to their lore, but that is what it looks like. And from that
Oh,
point
is that a
on,
real
the
scene?
puppet
What the
was
heck?
working behind the scenes, following William Afton around to pick up the
So that's
pieces he left
Charlotte, we
behind and
think.
do what they could to set things right. I'm about to sound a lot like Matt here. As we see in one of FNAF 2's Atari-style minigames, the puppet gives the souls of Afton's
first murdered
victims
kid.
new life inside
Cool.
of the animatronic suits. So our buddies Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy, yeah, they're haunted. Way haunted. But wait,
Okay,
that's
we
only
knew
4 animatronics. Didn't Purple Guy kill 5 kids during the missing
Golden
children's
Freddy.
incident? Well, this is where things get a little
Maybe?
funky.
Oh.
Again, because
Who's Golden
now we're
Freddy?
dealing with Golden Freddy's
Oh.
spirit. Or should I say, spirits. So remember the bite of 1983
Oh.
where the crying child got chomped by the Golden Freddy animatronic?
He got chomped.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
his soul is now inside of Golden Freddy.
That's his son.
Yeah, makes sense. But going back to that FNAF 2 minigame depicting the missing children's incident, in the very last split second, we see a 5th kid followed by a Golden Freddy jump scare. This is Cassidy, the 5th victim of the 1985 missing children's incident and the 2nd spirit haunting the Golden Freddy animatronic.
Two
Let me
in
tell ya,
Golden Freddy.
Cassidy is mad at William Afton. She is out for revenge. Keep a pin in this, it's important.
All this is to say that the
Oh.
FNAF 2 toy animatronics are now most likely haunted by the souls of Afton's most recent victims. You can tell because these guys start acting way
Interesting.
more aggressive and confrontational towards adults. They're chill around kids, but if you're a grown-up, they'll start giving you the death glare. And they're not programmed
Yeah,
to do
adults
that.
suck.
So I'ma say, haunted. They're looking for revenge against William Afton, but on the day of that last birthday party, they get a tad overexcited and attack the daytime security guard, giving them a nice hard chomp on the noggin and removing their entire front.
That's what it was. It was a security guard that got a chomp.
As the bite of 87.
Happy birthday, Tommy. Needless to say, this gets the new and improved Freddy Fazbear's
So it wasn't a kid that
Pizza
got the second
closed
bite.
for good. All right, so let's tally things up. By 1987, Fazbear
2 bites.
Entertainment has around a dozen dead kids to their name. That's almost 1 dead kid for every year they've existed. You really
That's bad.
think by now they decide to call it a day.
Why would you
But
want a birthday
no.
party here?
These guys decided to give it one more go in 1993. They went back to that first Freddy Fazbear's Pizza location, brought back the original crew, and relaunched the pizzeria feeling just so sure about it this time. But surprise, people kinda sorta associate the Fazbear name with dead kids now, so
As
no
they
one
should.
comes to this new restaurant and it eventually shuts down.
One
And that's
rainy
the
night
third
a
game.
while after the restaurant closes down.
Well, that's
and
kinda
falls into
lame. They just
disrepair,
try to
William
do the
Afton
same
sneaks
location
in
and same
starts
things again?
dismantling the animatronics one by one. Little does he know that those robots got ghosts in them. The souls of his victims are released and they chase Afton down. They corner him in the back room of the pizzeria and Afton starts to panic. But then,
'Cause he's back at the
we
original
don't really know
location.
why
Okay.
he would do this, but he runs over to the Spring Bonnie animatronic suit, the suit he's committed
Not the
all
third
these
game, the
murders
third
in, and
location.
hops inside. Not sure what that's gonna do against ghosts, but he seems to think it's a smart move. Remember though that these old Springlock suits are
Wait.
super sensitive to moisture. That's what killed the crying child back in '83. And like I
'Cause
said,
he cried
the
into
pizzeria's
it.
been abandoned for a while now. It's pretty run down. And it's raining. So Afton piles into his murder suit, just kind of stands there for a few seconds, and chomp! Spring locks fail, blood goes everywhere, and William Afton, stuck inside the Spring Bonnie suit, falls to the ground and dies. Fazbear Entertainment attempts to save
Karma.
face from the now baker's dozen of dead people attached to its name by completely walling off the back room, leaving Afton's body inside and just forgetting about it. We see all this go down during a minigame in FNAF 3. Also in that game, if you get the good ending, you get to see the puppet bring cake to a table of children. 4 of them in FNAF masks, and 1 of them crying. The puppet gives the kid cake, they
And the
stop
puppet.
crying, they put on a golden Freddy mask, and then they all disappear, leaving the mask
there's 2 kids in
behind.
that one.
The puppet has set the souls free.
Now, you might have noticed that all this stuff we're talking about has next to nothing to do with what you actually do in these games. Sure, you see some of this stuff play out in mini-games, but those are side things that are often hidden. If you play these games casually, you
All
may
the side
never
things and the
see a
hidden
good chunk of
things
these
are the things that
plot-driven
have most of the
minigames.
lore.
So how does a purple
I
dude
hate
killing
him.
kids lead to you as the player spending 5 nights at various robot-infested
Why
buildings,
do
checking
they
cameras, and
come
avoiding
back
death by robot
in
chicken?
every game?
Well, that is where William's older son, Michael Afton, comes back into the picture. While all of that was going on, Michael, now an adult, takes it upon himself to try and make up for his
But there were
dad's
paychecks
crime.
for different
At
people.
First, he was just trying to find his sister, which is a little weird considering the whole, you know, being dead thing. But remember the FNAF rule. All kids killed by Afton or his robots go on to possess an animatronic. And the soul of Michael's sister is now living in the very same animatronic that
Baby.
killed her, Circus Baby. And it seems like William Afton knows this because one day, William, the messed up individual he is, went to his son and was like, "Oh, your sister. Yeah, she's over there. Go check it out." So Michael takes a job at Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, as we see in the game's sister location. In between avoiding death by face-splitting animatronic, Michael discovers the whole "my dad killed a bunch of kids and their souls are trapped inside these animatronic suits" thing, and decides he has to do something about it.
Unfortunately,
Didn't
while
he
working
kill
the
his
night
own
shift
brother?
at the storage facility, Michael gets himself scooped, meaning the dude gets his insides ripped out of him by a machine meant to remove animatronic endoskeletons. And then this giant robot named Ennard, created by all the Funtime animatronics literally
hate
stitching
him.
parts of themselves together, jumps inside of Mike to use
But
his
you
body
can't
as a
be
host.
the
So
son in
Michael is
every
now dead.
game as the security
Kinda.
guard,
He's,
because
like,
there are different
partially
names
dead.
for
He
each
just
one.
kinda
Why
moves
did
on
they
with his
go
life for a
back
while.
5
Robo bits
times?
jangling around inside his skin sack as his body
Like
slowly
Fritz
rots
in
and
the
turns
other one.
purple. Oh, now he looks like dear old dad. Mike gets progressively worse until one day Ennard's just like, "Yeah, this place was cool at first, but kinda sucks now," and ejects himself from Michael's body. And Michael is pretty okay with it, actually. Yeah, somehow he is still alive. Not
I want to go back. I talked over that, and now I'm
Takes a job
confused
at
now.
Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rentals, as we see in
Right, so he can't be
the game's sister location. In between avoiding death by face-splitting animatronic, Michael discovers the whole
Oh, I never saw the Ballora jump scare because we never got it. I was too good at the game.
Thing, and decides he has to do something about it.
Unfortunately, while working the
Okay,
night
so he's
shift
the
at
one working in
storage
sister
facility,
location
Michael
for
gets
sure.
himself scooped, meaning the dude gets his
Get
insides
scooped.
ripped out of him by a machine meant to remove animatronic endoskeleton.
Gets endoskeleton
And then
put
this
in him,
giant
which is
robot
Ennard?
named Ennard, created by all the Funtime animatronics literally stitching parts of themselves together, jumps inside of Mike to use his body as a host. So Michael is now dead. Kinda. He's like partially
his body's
dead.
being
He just kind of
used.
moves on with his life for a while. Robo bits jangling around inside his skin
Oh,
sack as his
okay.
body slowly rots and turns purple. Oh, now he looks like
He
hero
becomes
bad.
a purple
Mike
man.
Gets progressively worse until one day Ennard's just like, yeah, this place was cool
So
at
the body's
first, but
decaying.
kinda sucks now, and ejects himself from Michael's body. And Michael is pretty okay with it, actually. Yeah, somehow he
Still
is
alive?
still alive. Not
What?
much else to do, but
Excuse me?
Keep doing what he was doing before, I guess.
Michael starts applying for gigs at all the various Fazbear locations that popped up over the years, with the goal of setting the souls inside the animatronics free. He lands nighttime security jobs at both the bigger 1987 pizzeria as well as the 1993 pizzeria, but is fired from both for tampering with the animatronics to, save the
but it had a
souls of
different
dead
name.
children, and for a general foul odor, because he is in fact a walking corpse. And all this comes
How
to
is
a
he
head
still
in FNAF 3
walking?
several years after the final closing of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The whole Fazbear name is destroyed, no doubt.
How
but
does
over
he
the years,
continue
it
to walk?
became some kind of urban legend. So some random company decides to capitalize on this, creating a haunted house-style horror attraction called Fazbear Frights. The place is all decked out in Freddy Fazbear memorabilia, spooky atmosphere.
Feels guilty for
everything's
killing his
peepy
brother,
yellow.
I
They went
guess.
the whole 9 yards with this place, including finding a real Fazbear animatronic salvaged from the walled-off back room of Freddy Fazbear's
He doesn't have
Pizza.
organs.
Yeah, William
He doesn't
Afton is
have
back,
organs.
baby. Undead,
What?
rotting,
Oh, yeah,
haunting a
Springtrap.
Spring Bonnie suit, and stalking around Fazbear Frights as the monstrosity we all know as Springtrap. I guess living after death as a rotting purple corpse creature runs in the Afton family.
Apparently!
Only
So
after
two
a
purple
certain
guys,
Sorry,
two crying
kids.
children,
So
and two
William Afton
bites.
has been unleashed back onto the
Why?
world. This could be very bad. Luckily, Fazbear Frights has a nighttime security guard. That's right, it's a family reunion. Father and son back together after all these years. Except now they're both technically dead, and the son sets the dad on fire. Yeah! At the end of FNAF
How is
3,
he still
Fazbear
going?
Frights burns down with Springtrap still inside, which has to have been Michael trying to finally finish off his dad. But unfortunately for Mike, William Afton
Always comes back.
he tried his best, but somehow, Springtrap is still out there.
But then, totally out of left field, Henry Emily comes back with
He's
a
back!
plan. After doing literally nothing this entire time, Henry
Grieving the
jumps
loss of
back
his
into the
daughter.
fray by starting his own
Not wanting to be
pizzeria with
involved in this
Michael working
thing at
as an
all.
employee. We see all this happen in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. But beyond all the arcade games and googly eyes, Henry's Pizzeria is actually just a front to gather up the last few haunted animatronics and set their souls to rest.
Oh,
And
so
weirdly
Henry's
enough, the
also
animatronics have
trying to free
changed over
them.
the years. Circus Baby was apparently kicked out of the Ennard crew, now taking the form of Scrap Baby. What's left of
What?
Ennard has now taken the form of Molten Freddy. The puppet's still kicking around as this bear called Lefty. And of
Baby
course,
tried to be nice to
there's
us.
Springtrap.
Ennard did not
much different
like
about
that,
it.
I
It's just
think.
Springtrap. Once the gang's all together, they're all
Yikes.
incinerated, including Michael, and we hear the voice of Henry saying his final goodbye to the lost souls, his daughter, and his old business partner. But hey, would you look at that? William Afton is still alive. Okay, how the heck does this dude keep cheating death?
Well, that's all thanks to Cassidy, the vengeful spirit haunting Golden Freddy alongside the crying child. She's been out for revenge ever
didn't like
since
that
the
screenshot.
1995 missing children's incident. And when I say revenge, I mean she wants to make
Other
him
Golden Freddy.
suffer. Just killing him off isn't enough. And at this point, William Afton should be dead several times over. Dude got impaled from all angles and burned to death twice. So, physically, he's not really that much of a threat anymore, but Cassidy keeps him alive to torture him, forcing him to live through a never-ending barrage of animatronic horror in his
Oh.
mind as we see in FNAF Custom Night. But that's just half the
Why
story.
her?
Because now
Why not the son who's
there's
also in
two
Golden
William
Freddy?
Aftons.
Oh my
What?
god. Okay,
What?
follow me on this. Many years after all the tragedies of the Fazbear franchise occur...
Why is there two of
Scott
everything?
some random unnamed video game developer who is not Scott Cawthon, the real-world creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, started making a bunch of horror games based on the stories of the Fazbear tragedies. Yep, FNAF is officially going full meta on us now. Not Cawthon's games become really popular, and Fazbear Entertainment is getting pretty ticked at the bad name the games are giving their company. As if they weren't already giving themselves a bad name. So they decide to fight fire with fire.
How does this as a company even still have money to keep reopening?
Their own VR horror game as a way of poking
the
fun at
VR
themselves,
game.
discrediting Not Cawthon, saving a bit of face, and cashing in on their
Is
own
actually
messed
a
up
video
past while
game
they're at
in
it.
the
But
universe.
as it turns out, while making the game, the dev team used a few pieces of code found on some old Fazbear Entertainment hard drives. And in that code, somehow was a digital replication of William Afton's consciousness.
What?
Yeah, we're going there.
This code manifested itself in game as Glitch Trap, a yellow bunny mascot
Glitch
with purple eyes.
Trap.
Over the course of the game, brainwashed multiple beta testers to become little William Aftons in training. All right, this is getting a little far-fetched, right? But it doesn't stop there. In the FNAF VR DLC Curse of Dreadbear, we see this whole William AI Afton mind-melding thing really take shape with Vanny, a reluctant follower of William Afton. We've not seen much of Vanny yet, but we know that she's someone who's played FNAF VR, was brainwashed by Afton, and is now working for him. Also, she wears a creepy bunny mascot costume just like Glitch Trap.
So that's just
and
a real
looks like
person.
Vanny is about to become a very important player in the FNAF story. Sometime in the near future, we're going to be getting ourselves the newest FNAF game, Security Breach.
It's bigger, it's badder, it's constantly getting delayed. It's Five Nights
And
at
it's
Freddy's
out now.
Security Breach. I actually think it looks really good. And if the trailers and teasers are anything to go by, which they
And we're
should
gonna play
be,
it
in
when
this
it's
game,
a little
you're
bit
being
maybe
hunted
not so
down by a
broken,
killer bunny
maybe.
mascot with a woman's voice. That's Vanny. And until we see what all Security Breach brings to the table, that is where the story of Five Nights at Freddy's leaves off.
see
I
it.
know it kind of feels like we just took a hard left turn right before the end there. All this talk of AI, brainwashing, and deadly VR games actually makes all the child murder and haunted animatronics actually look normal by comparison. But to me, this feels like we've reached the end of FNAF Season 1 and are entering FNAF Season 2.
At this point, FNAF is wrapping up the story we've all been decoding and piecing together since 2014, and using it as a springboard
So
to
there's
set
two
up
of
all the
everything
new
is what
insane
I
stories
came
that
to
we'll
the
be trying to
conclusion
piece
of.
together
He just
into
likes having there be a
2028.
double
The
of
main
everything
FNAF
to make you
story,
even
the
more
story of the haunted
confused.
pizzerias, missing kids, purple people in the Afton family is largely over.
Dudes,
A
we
couple
are
of
definitely
pieces
playing
of it are
Security Breach.
wrapping
I
up
just
in the
don't know if
books
I'm
at
gonna
this point,
play
but
it
really, it's just done.
before
This
or after
is
it's
officially the
fixed.
start of not even a new chapter, but
Because
a
it's
new
got some
saga
bugs, some
of
bug
FNAF
problems.
stories, which gotta say, super exciting, because like back
There's
in
a
2014,
Security Breach
no one could have
theory out.
predicted
Maybe
that
we
the
just watch
creepy
that
Chuck
and
E.
that's where
Cheese
we're gonna
game would
wrap
grow
up.
to become a massive
MatPat did a Security Breach one. Oh, 3 days ago. Is that going to be a spoiler for me, though, because I haven't played the game yet, and we're going to play the game, and we don't want it to be spoiled? Yeah. We don't want to watch... Oh my god, I'm so much shorter here. I gotta figure out my camera angle everywhere. We don't want to watch it before I play the game, because... what would be the point of playing the game if I watched the video all about it? Well, that's all the game theory and theory videos we're going to watch for today on Five Nights at Freddy's. We can watch it after we play the game, but honestly, once we play the game, we might not need to watch it. We might be able to put the pieces together ourselves, possibly. And I haven't watched any of anyone playing Security Breach, so I definitely want to go in without any spoilers. So we're gonna leave it at that. Fitzsimmons, thank you for subscribing. Did I say that one before? That was a while ago. Okay, good. Good. I'm gonna wrap up here. But first, let me have you all go. Thank you guys all for hanging out. I will not be live tomorrow because I'm not live on Wednesdays, but I'll be back on Thursday, probably with some Minecraft, because I think we're about ready to go back around to Minecraft. Let me go pick someone to raid. Not looking at the chat because we don't take any suggestions from there. JoJo is playing Stardew Valley, and I love that game. Although I did start to play Terraria and love that game almost more. Maybe more, possibly more. But thank you guys for hanging out today. I will see you all on Thursday. Go be the absolute nicest people in her chat. If you don't know the rules, ask the mods. Don't break them by accident. and go bring your good vibes. And thank you for bringing your good vibes here today. If you're not already, feel free to drop a follow. And thanks for hanging out and staying, because a lot of you guys came in on a raid and stayed for watching all the FNAF lore, which was super interesting to go through. And I'm glad we skipped ahead to wrap it all up to see where we're at with Security Breach before we play it. Who knows when? But thank you guys all for hanging out. Feel free to follow. Thank you everyone who subbed and sent bits and donated today. But don't worry about it if you never can, because I just appreciate you being here watching. So thank you guys. Goodbye, everybody. See you Thursday. Goodbye.